7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Otis, you crazy mother.
Gentlemen, my name is Nelson Toro. Welcome to the first episode of Attack the Pod, the Little Bit of Everything podcast. We'll deal with the geek news of the week, and we'll discuss every week a movie that I believe deserves a remake instead of taking our childhood movies and destroying them, a la Ghostbusters, or one that's really hurting me right now is Big Trouble in Little China with The Rock, which, God, please don't let that happen. As you can hear in the background, I have my two guests this evening. They are with the hashtag Blackout podcast. We have Jared Hooker and Jay Rose.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are you this evening?
Doing good.
Doing good, man. How you doing, bro?
I am very good, very excited. I also want to put a little special shout out on this. Jared was actually one of my main, influences to start this podcast. So a big shout out to you, sir, and to your cousin Jay. I mean, listening to y'all gave me the encouragement to get this going. So thank you to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. I hope you weren't listening to us and be like, dang, I could do better than those guys.
Yeah, well, maybe not.
If you did, it's whatever. Yeah, man, I'm glad to be, definitely glad to be of assistance and, a little bit of motivation for you, even though I know you're great in your own right. So can't wait to see what your show does.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, gentlemen. Please go ahead and if y'all could break down a little bit what the hashtag Blackout podcast is and where the people can find it.
All right. Well, so pretty much what we do is we discuss everything geek related, movie, music, food related. We're big foodie type guys. Everything dealing with pop culture these days. So, that's pretty much what we talk about on a I guess a weekly basis. Anything that's going on in the news, just those type of things. But you could find us on SoundCloud. Just look us up at hashtag Blackout Podcast, iTunes. We're on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, pretty much all the social media spots. So you just Google it and you'll find us somewhere.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit of everything. We're going to find you and we're going to get to where we need to be to listen to the show. And then, by the way, it is a great show, guys. If you get a chance to give them a listen, I highly recommend it. My personal favorite will always be the Saturday morning cartoon discussion with the cereal. Thank you again. Okay, we're going to go ahead and right now and start the Week in Geek. Right now, we got Comic-Con right around the corner starting July 21st to the 24th in San Diego. Of course, the largest convention out there, the mother of them all, or granddaddy, as Keith Jackson would say. And we're going to be, some of the big movies I'm hearing, or reading exactly. We got the WB is going to be having their presentation in Hall H, hosted by Conan O'Brien this year. They're going to show Wonder Woman. They're going to show Suicide Squad. My personal favorite, Lego Batman, which I think...
Nice.
I love Will Arnett as Batman in the Lego movie, and the trailer so far looks great. I can't wait to see more on it. Also, we got from Warner Brothers, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Continue the Harry Potter saga. Looks great. Eddie Redmayne, American wizardry. So it looks cool in the trailers. I've seen it. So
I just saw a good trailer for that a little while ago, and yeah, it's gonna be good. Even though I really don't know much about Harry Potter, I would go see this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to be beholden to the previous books to watch this one because it's obviously a prequel, and so I think it's going to be its own jumping off point. It's going to touch on Muggles, it'll touch on all the other little things that make Harry Potter and that world so fascinating. So it should be good.
Cool.
And then also not going to be shown, actually, is Justice League, which is a big kind of deal. It's currently filming in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. And for them to not have anything about Justice League kind of speaks to the issue about the movie we'll be delving into a little bit later. But the fate that Warner Brothers has currently with Zack Snyder. Justice League was supposed to be a two-parter. Your traditional, Hunger Games 1, 2, the final thing was supposed to be this Justice League. Now it's down to one movie. A lot of people have been fired from it. Like I said, we'll delve deeper into it a little bit later with our movie that we'll reveal here shortly. Also not going to be shown Blade Runner 2 and Andy Serkis's Jungle Book. I don't know if y'all two are familiar with this, but Jon Favreau had his Jungle Book through Disney, which was kind of a remake and actually very good. Amazing take on it. But Andy Serkis was going to do his more closer to the book of Rupert Kipling. You know, he was directing it, and it was rumored, and I don't know what it's happened to it. Currently.
So wait. I'm sorry, Nelson.
Go ahead.
Andy Serkis doing the Jungle Book. So is he going to be portraying all the animals?
He's actually directing it. I don't know if he'll be portraying all the animals, but
he should.
Yeah,
freaking amazing.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, I mean, how are you going to take it? It's going to come so far after this Jon Favreau's was so well received. Exactly. It seems kind of. I mean,
you know, I think what's going to end up happening, I think it's going to be sort of like, you know how sometimes they adapt a book and turn it to a movie, or adapt like a play and turn it into a movie. I think it'll be the opposite. I think it'll be like, oh yeah, we had this really amazing like movie. Now let's do like the little like, you know, off Broadway version of it. So I mean just because the fact that it's just so close seems like it's going to be copycatting, if you will. So hopefully it's good. I don't know if I'm going to go see it unless it has a great cast.
Exactly. I mean,
but yeah, like you said, it's so close. So you know, who knows what they.
It's very weird. I don't know if they're going to go dark and gritty. You know, it's a Warner Brothers movie. Apparently, everything they do must now be dark and gritty. Thank you, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Also, Marvel will have their Hall H presentation. Rumored to be shown. We're going to have some Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 footage, which I'm super excited. James Gunn is back. The whole cast is back. We got some new characters, Manus, and Kurt Russell. I mean, honestly, Kurt Russell, space is going to rock. I have super high hopes on this. Rocket Groot back in the fold, so it should be very good. Doctor Strange, obviously. Some say a bit of a gamble, but the trailer they shown looks amazing. I didn't have faith in the director when they chose him, but from what I've seen in the trailer so far, it looks really cool and it looks very different, and which I think is good. I mean, I don't know. How did y'all think? What did y'all think when you first saw that trailer kick through?
I honestly didn't know what to think because I'm not that familiar with Doctor Strange, but from the visuals that I saw, it looks like it could be another blockbuster. You know?
Yeah, I sort of like nerded out, you know what I'm saying? I don't do it that often, but yeah, when that one dropped, I definitely did. And the only reason, you know, let me just tell you, the only reason I'm familiar with Doctor Strange is a couple years ago, Jay, who is an amazing artist, by the way, was at my son's birthday party, a superhero birthday party, and he was doing caricatures, and you could just, you know, pick a character off this big Marvel poster that we had, you know, and he would basically do your head on top of their body. Nice. An amazing job. So I was just like, I just want like somebody crazy, and so I picked Doctor Strange, and and it was cool. Like he did a really cool, you know, rendition of it. I'll definitely have to post it and tag you in it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I know you spoke to Jay's artistic talent, and that, honestly, I'm beyond jealous because I love art in all its forms, especially awesome. You know. So I mean, that's cool. Dude, that is a cool story.
Amazing. Yeah. So after that, I was like, well, okay. So now I picked this guy. I want to check out, you know, who he is. So I started reading some of his comic series and you know, sort of got into it. And then just this past weekend, as Pokemon Go was like blowing up, I actually went to this comic store here locally, and as I walked in the door, a guy's like, "Hey, you know, can I help you?" You know, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good." And then somebody in the background was like, "Oh, I bet he's looking for Pokemon. There's a lot of people crossing the park." And so I was like, "I'm not looking for Pokemon. I'm just looking for something." So I picked up the comic book store owner advised me on this thing they call the Timely Comics, which basically is like 3 comic books, or you know, 3 volumes in one, or 3, you know, like the first 3 comics in one book. So there's a new Doctor Strange Timely Comics series out, and I literally just started reading it today. There's like 2 pages of origin, and it just jumps right in. So I'm very excited, you know, to read it. It's probably about like 40 pages long. I'm excited to read it, and I'm excited for the film, man. It looked crazy. It looked like a little bit of what do they call it? Movie Inception.
Yes,
Yeah,
And
definitely.
you know,
the folding of the
a lot of
city and all that. It was great.
magic, like kung fu, like it's all like it all looks like it's all there. So at this point, it looks great.
Mhm.
So hopefully it doesn't disappoint.
I ain't gonna lie, I've been burned before on trailers, and I hope I am wrong. I hope I'm not disappointed in this one. Marvel's had such a good track record. I
Right.
mean, everyone said Guardians of the Galaxy, a talking raccoon and tree. That's not gonna work.
Yep.
Buku bucks, buku
Yeah.
reviews, and just I think we'll get into this as we talk about our next movie about how and why Marvel is so successful and
Yeah.
why Warner Brothers cannot seem to duplicate that success. Also, Marvel will be showing, their current cartoon slate. Also, going to the TV side, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but a lot of the buses around San Diego have a flaming chain wrapped around it.
Yes, I
So,
noticed that.
Heard about
so
it.
rumor is, I mean, I'm skeptical. Ghost Rider.
That's what I
Now,
heard.
but if you're familiar with the current incarnation of Ghost Rider, it is a kid or teenager by the name of Robbie Reyes. And Robbie Reyes is not the same Ghost Rider as Johnny Blaze. He doesn't have the same demon within him. It's a really cool story if you get a chance to read it. But they did say that their casting call went out for 2 Hispanic teens, or because it's brothers. It's Robbie Reyes who looks after his younger brother. So everybody is taking these pieces and trying to put it together. I am super excited. Big fan of Robbie Reyes. Big fan of Ghost Rider in general. And with the opening of Doctor Strange, it's going to open up that side of that Marvel universe of the mystic side. So this is probably. Every year, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ties into the major Marvel movie event, and this could be that as well. This one, last year, you had a little bit of the Civil War tie-in. The year before that, you had the Winter Soldier tie-in with, everything. And so I believe this probably could tie in with Doctor Strange, and it should be very good. Also, some big news recently, if y'all are a fan of the Flash TV show on the WB, like I am, Grant Gustin is my Flash. That guy that we'll be talking about later is not my Flash, so they did show promo for Wally West as Kid Flash. Costume looks
Yes, I saw that.
amazing. Amazing. Very good. And which is very interesting is that with not a lot of backlash for the changing of the character from, white to black. I think it should never be a big deal, but you know how the internet and the comic fans can be, but I think this has been strongly positive. I mean, what is your take on what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I don't know. I want you guys to speak on it because I'm just barely looking at the picture. Picture looks pretty dope, with the yellow, mostly yellow and less red, leatherish looking suit. Looks pretty dope.
Yeah.
I think as you'll find out later on from some of my picks, from what we're going to talk about later, I think it would be cool, to do a change of race, when warranted, if done by a good enough actor and placed in the right way. I think it'll be good. So I'm not that tied up to it. So yeah, I mean it looks really great. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I had someone send me a picture earlier today while at work, and I didn't know what it was. I mean, I knew who it was, but I didn't know what it was tied to until he told me it was going to be part of Flash. So I'm excited to see how this goes. It's been a while since I watched an episode. I know I have them all like queued on Netflix and Hulu, so I have to go back and watch it. But yeah, I'm curious to see how it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great show. I think it is the far superior DC show compared to Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow. I think Arrow has slipped dramatically, or as I like to call it, Batman Jr., because basically that's what Arrow is Batman Jr. And
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's pretty much what it's going on right now. This also, speaking of, nerd rage and nerd culture, we're going to go into a movie I just referenced earlier. And reading up on it, Ghostbusters has been getting positive reviews. Not terrible, but not great, but just generally positive reviews. And, the backlash behind this, one of the most hated videos on YouTube history until, of course, the Call of Duty trailer dropped. It is kind of mind-boggling to say that it could get the positive reaction. I'm pretty sure it's still going to take a beating in the box office because of the nostalgia and such hate behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, in y'all's opinion, can this movie overcome the hate that it received? I mean, it's before this even got started, it was hated on. Just the fact that, a lot of people were like, oh, women Ghostbusters, and then they couldn't see past it. We've seen it before. Nerds like ourselves, or geeks like ourselves, we hold our childhood and our nostalgia close to our chest and our hearts. And some people, of course, took it way crazy. But can it overcome that and get some traction with these positive reviews?
Well, I think how it can. I think it can, but it'll be more of a long-term type of thing. Like, it's not going to happen immediately, just because they're going up against this movie that I just saw. Just a couple hours ago. Secret Life of Pets came out on the same weekend, which the Secret Life of Pets, obviously more centered to kids. There's like bigger, there's a few bigger stars in that than Ghostbuster, and I mean, it's animation, which has been amazing, and it basically took the weekend, I think, with a $50 million start. And the Ghostbusters, I can't quite remember. I'm trying to look up right now what it actually pulled this first opening weekend. But it would have to be more of a, this is going to happen over the course of, like it being out for a month or two, rather than like, very quickly. And another thing is, everybody just like basically like fanboyed or fangirled out and was like pissed off the fact that they're women. I think it was more the fact that they're women than the fact that they are basically doing the same exact movie. Just basically flipping roles, women to men. And like, Chris Hemsworth, maybe they threw him in there because they thought that would save it. I don't know.
Well, actually,
he looks like, I just had to say, I think everybody like freaked out too much that it's women. But like, you look at the four, female leads, and they're all like hilarious comedians. So the only thing I think that would hold it back would be writing. You know what I'm saying? I think less than actually the movie, but whatever.
Yeah, and I actually heard Chris Hemsworth did a great job as like as a comedy, as like a comedic person. Comedic relief in the film. I heard he was played like that, of course, that dumb blonde role that you see in the trailer. But I heard good reviews as well. Will it do? I don't think it'll do as good as the original. Of course not. It's not going to do that. Those are classics. But I don't know. It'll take a little bit of time just to see how the public receives it.
Yeah.
I mean,
so today,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm listening.
I mean, I hadn't passed any judgment or anything like that when I saw the trailer. Of course, I like to wait until I sit down in the actual seat and watch the movie to really cast my judgment. But we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, today is Tuesday. It just came out last Thursday on IMDb, which isn't always like the end all be all. Has a 3.8 out of 10.
Wow.
Which is not 2.0. The Metascore on Metacritic, though, is a 60, so that basically is a 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, it's probably more like pissed off fanboys, what I'm saying, that have too much nostalgia. I mean, we all saw the original. It was all within, our childhood. So, obviously we all love it. We're all tied to the original. But, nowadays, with the fact that they're basically remaking every single movie, it seems like, from back in the day, or they have, like the situation with the superhero movies where they're basicI sort of rewriting the story, changing some things here and there, as we just talked about, changing the color of characters. I think that people just need to chill out and just give it a chance. Like, if you don't like it after you see it, that's one thing. But, if you just pass judgment first, one day when it comes out on TNT, you're like, dang, I should have saw that in the theater.
Exactly.
Right.
Also, on the last little bit of geek culture news, we got confirmation today via Pedro Pascal, who was on Game of Thrones, is also on the new Kingsman Golden Circle, showed a picture of Colin Firth reprising his role from the first Kingsman.
Oh, cool.
So if you remember correctly, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen this movie, shame on you, but I will spoil it here. He took a bullet to the dome from Samuel Jackson, but somehow he's back. This is also, Kingsman was a great Mark Miller comic book. also a great, movie. The church scene is honestly one of
Oh
the
boy.
one of the greatest things you can see action wise in a movie. Uh,
Uh-huh.
it was I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was funny. Mark Strong and Colin Firth. I think Egerton, I forget his name, the kid who
Karen,
played,
yeah.
yeah, and Samuel Jackson. Even though I didn't like his lisp, I still liked his character. Uh, so I love how it kind of takes the real '60s style vibe of the secret agent, where anything could happen. Very big, broad plans of world domination, not like the current James Bond, which is kind of James Bourne light, or excuse me, Jason Bourne light.
Right.
But anything. He could be a robot. He could be a clone. He could be just in a dream sequence. It's hard to tell, but it should be interesting, and I cannot wait till we see some more information on this.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to some sports before we finish up. Big announcement after 19 seasons in the NBA with one team, no less, with the San Antonio Spurs. Tim Duncan has decided to retire. I'm going to go ahead and say this. We, as all of us are kind of around the same age, we lived in a great time. We have seen some great athletes in basketball through the years.
Yes.
In my lifetime, it's amazing because you think about it. I was born in '79, so I didn't really start watching basketball until I was like maybe 5, 6, 7 years old. That's kind of in the prime of Dominique, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. Saw the tail end of Kareem, Moses Malone. And then you see the ascension of Akeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan. Isaiah Thomas, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley. And then you see those guys come in and leave, and then you got the new cat. You had Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan. Yeah. It was an amazing time for all of us. And I mean,
Right.
I don't think we could really sit back and say, or not say, but really appreciate what it means to just witness this. This is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And to say, he is the San Antonio Spur. I will always dislike him as a Houston Rockets fan, but I respect the hell out of Tim Duncan. The best power forward, in my opinion, in the NBA, in NBA history. Just amazing guy to watch. Even though he always had the face of never committing a foul, pretty much like anybody in the NBA. But he is, like I said, just an amazing. It's been an honor to watch him. Tim, I doubt you'll hear this, but maybe you will. You never know when you go back to the Virgin Islands. But thank you. Just thank you for playing the game the way it should be played. Even though you, like I said, beat the Rockets handily many a time. Thank you for your time. Okay, guys, this is our big transition now. We will be talking about movies that should be remade. Not that movies like we talked about, the Ghostbusters. We had the terrible RoboCop remake that shouldn't have been made. If the original was a classic, the Total Recall was god awful remake. I mean, they made Bryan Cranston just look like he was going through the motions. We don't need these movies to be remade. The originals were great because they don't touch Citizen Kane. They don't touch Gone with the Wind. I mean, I'm not saying RoboCop is Gone with the Wind, but to me it could be. But I mean, in all seriousness, but it isn't. You don't mess with good things. So we're going to look at terrible movies, terribly critically reviewed, even just in the box office bust. We're going to look at these and talk about why they were so bad, for one, and what can we do to fix it. What would we do? How would we pitch this movie to fix it, and how recast it in today's world. And today, gentlemen, we are going to take on a movie that actually angered me to watch. This movie got a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, gentlemen. 27%. Not the lowest, but for the budget that it had, that is a slap in the face.
Right.
This movie was so bad, it changed the culture of a company.
Yeah.
A lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of reshuffling, a lot of like, oh my God, what are we going to do? It changed a slate of films. So today, that movie is Batman vs. Superman, the Zack Snyder directed movie that, honestly, I know people who say they love this movie. I cannot see it that way. I think it was terrible. I mean, personally, I did not enjoy this movie. I don't know what y'all guys kind of think off the bat, but give us first your overall opinion, and then we're going to break this movie down.
Well, I know when we discussed this. Yeah, I know when we discussed this movie, like, I don't know, probably a couple weeks after it came out, I gave it pretty much an average rating. I didn't think it was like completely terrible, but I didn't think it was great. I just thought it was like right up the middle of just being average. I don't think I'm going to buy it by any means. You know, I hear some things about this this new release that just came out, the DVD release that's like 3 hours long, that had like 30 minutes of extra footage that sort of tied in a lot of different things. But I
We
don't
will.
think I'm.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that, but go.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to see it again. And I tried to watch a let's just say a version that I got a link to of
Gotcha.
the unlimited cut or extra extended edition, whatever stupid crap they call it. I wasn't able to see it. I did see some clips online, some YouTube clips online of some of those extended scenes in which people were just like, people said it actually made it better. But let me just say this. I think Jay gave it like a 6 initially. I mean, did I give it a 3? A 3.5? I don't
I
know.
think
I
I
can't
think you
remember.
gave it around a 5. You said it was like average too. I
I
mean, but you
swear I
didn't
gave
like
it like a 1 though. Like I thought I gave it like a -2. Like
it was 3 to
honestly,
5 to
if
1.
I
You
remember
know.
correctly, it got like a -37 because of Ben Affleck, which really I think is the reason why it failed because
Wow.
of Ben
Okay.
Affleck.
I don't know.
Even though
Yeah.
people said they like Batfleck, and I do have to admit, like he had like one or two good fight scenes, but
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I think I just have that. I'm probably contradicting myself right now because earlier I said how bad it was that everybody was dogging Ghostbusters because they're fanboying out,
Mhm.
based off of the original. Well, of course, I base all Ben Affleck's performances off of that Daredevil performance from way back in the day.
Yeah. He,
So
he
I
can
didn't
never
have
live that
faith
down.
in, yeah, that and the fact that he's a Red Sox fan. I mean, he
Uh,
already has two strikes from me. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna. I'm not actually gonna watch it again. I will not
mhm.
buy it. I purposely did not take my son to see it because I didn't want to spend any more money on it. And
Right,
and
right.
another thing is, here in the great state of Utah, which isn't as great as Texas, they have the great thing is they do have $5 movie Tuesdays, and it's statewide, regardless of the film release date. So I saw it, for $5, and I wish I'd have spent one.
Yeah, that I mean that's kind of my gist of it. I saw the theatrical release. I have seen the extended version. I will break down some of the changes made to the extended version, because we were told, "Oh, it's going to be a hard R movie." And I think in all honesty, it tried to capture that Deadpool vibe, because Deadpool was the highest grossing R-rated movie before, and they were like, "Oh, well, just in case you didn't know, Batman, Superman, R-rated. You're going to love it. You're not going to love it." If you didn't like the theatrical version, this movie, the extended cut doesn't really do much to it. Well, like I said, we'll touch on some of that stuff as we go along. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll start from the beginning. We'll kind of work our way. If you haven't, if you want to jump somewhere else, we'll jump there and then jump back. So
All right,
guys, we're gonna keep this a free flowing conversation. However you
go
want to
ahead.
take this, we're gonna go. So I know we start this movie, of course, I would like to call this Batman versus Superman dream of justice because there is an abnormal amount of dream sequences in this movie.
Right.
It starts with a dream sequence / flashback, however you want to cut that. Once again, we see Bruce's parents die. Again, I mean, I've seen these people die a lot.
Oh
I
wait,
don't think.
hold on. His parents died?
Yeah, Bruce Wayne's parents died.
Like, did they really die? Was his mom's name Martha?
Yes, they had
Dang.
they had that rosebud moment, guys. I mean, if they didn't, the word that did actually just flash on the screen in big bold letters, like what was it, Keenan Ivory Wayne's and "Don't Be a Menace" message. It was a message that you needed to hold on to because it was so ham-fisted the way they showed that. I mean, it ripped off Citizen Kane obviously with the whole rosebud thing. It's like even my daughter who loves superheroes movies, I take them to it. They both said, okay, what is that all about?
Yeah.
And so we get that. We get the funeral scene. We get Bruce running into the forest, falling down the hole. Of course, the whole bat sequence. Then the bats fly out of the hole and he fly, which I didn't catch at first, in all honesty. So upon the second viewing, my daughter's all like, "Yeah, Dad, look, he is flying. The bats are making him fly." And I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" And I was like, "Oh crap, it's a dream sequence." And I marked that down because we're gonna get to how many dream sequences we had in
Right.
this movie. And so then and another thing that I don't think we just talked about it earlier as far as changing colors of characters, but Joe Chill, the man who murders Bruce's parents, has been changed from a white man to a black man or
What
Hispanic.
in the unlimited extended whatever they call it cut?
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't show him clearly in the theatrical version, They show him more clearly here, and he is now a minority character. So basically, you're saying minorities,
Wow.
we're bad
Just
people.
like
So,
America.
Well, ain't that
Went from
something?
a white man to a black man.
yeah, I mean, so the comic fans didn't catch it or didn't care because they're like, you know what? Yeah, minorities kill people, so that works. So that happened. So we get that, and then we basically flash back to the end of Man of Steel, which we come into Bruce Wayne flying in, Superman's fighting Zod, and we have a couple of things that happen that honestly doesn't make a lot of sense. First, I like to laugh because the basically Jeep commercial that happens as soon as he lands, he jumps in the Jeep, and it becomes like, and I'm just waiting for that voiceover to come in, the new 2016 Jeep, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
as he's cutting through all these things, and, it becomes, you can't do business today in the movie world without a little product placement, but that was pretty heavy-handed. We get to, he gets to a certain point where he can't drive anymore, gets out of the car, sees them fighting, and the thing that is mind-boggling to me, in a way, is that he calls the people in Wayne Tower, and they're just still in the building. Mm-hmm. 2 aliens, a spaceship, all this, and no one's running. It's like, no, we'll chill here. No big deal. I don't.
Yeah, I thought that was silly too.
Yeah,
people are just sitting there watching it. You know what I'm saying? It's just
and I don't know if that's just like Zack Snyder trying to say our society is going to sit there and videotape it and YouTube and yell "World Star" at the top of their lungs while they watch these two.
Will. They will.
So I just thought that was amazingly just makes no sense. And then that old man, his friend, who they really don't tie into too much. I mean, they don't say how he's a friend or. You're led to assume this guy could have been just a middle manager, to Bruce Wayne. They don't really expound on it, but this dude dies because he thought it'd be cool instead of running down the stairs to look out the window and recite a prayer instead of running for his life. What ifs? It is what it is. I don't know. That just seems so odd to me, and I just didn't get it. I didn't. Then we have the scene of Bruce running towards the building. It's ready to collapse. Zod and they didn't I'm trying to remember in Man of Steel. I don't know if y'all did. Did they really say? Did they really show in any way that building was a Wayne Tower building that they had destroyed?
Yeah. Didn't it have the? I think it had the logo on the building.
No. Here's the thing. When the building that they crash and Zod gets his heat vision. That wasn't really, I don't believe, shown to be a Wayne Tower building because
I'm sorry. Are you meaning
in the Man of Steel movie?
Oh no. Yeah, I don't believe so, but I believe it's the same building. Maybe they were just on a different block when they videotaped it.
Probably because I remember from Man of Steel there was 2 Wayne Tech shoutouts. One was when they were in space and they ran into the Wayne Tech satellite. And you saw the little W logo. Right. And then once when they landed in Metropolis, I don't know if they landed before one of the two, but they were in a construction building, like a new building project, and you saw Wayne Tech there as well. So there's your 2 shout-outs, but the building that he got heat vision in and they start wrecking really wasn't shown. Once again, I still, we'll get to this, but Zack Snyder is not a great director by any means. He's a visual director. He is Michael Bay. He's Michael Bay light. Well, I'll discuss this a little bit more. Well, you know what? I'll go into it right now. He does not have an original thought in his brain. That's why the Watchmen and 300 were shot-for-shot remakes from the comic books, is because he couldn't just come up with a shot of his own and an idea of his own. The one time he had an idea of his own, he made Sucker Punch, which honestly was a terrible movie.
It was.
Oh my god. Sucker. I don't know if it's people. Please do not watch Sucker Punch unless you just want to laugh or make a drinking game of it. It was terrible. But that's pretty much what he is. He is just the visual director. He doesn't care. If you heard some of his interviews leading up to this movie, I'm not sure if y'all familiar with it, how it kind of ballooned into this, but yeah, he doesn't have that thought process. He's not a fan of the material. Let's put it that way, and it showed. It honestly, it showed.
Right.
We're gonna go ahead and. I don't know if y'all have anything to add on to the beginning that y'all saw that you might want to chime in on.
I remember, that scene where, you were saying that you guys noticed that Batman was flying. I do remember, as that kid is sitting there with those bats, like if you ever been, seen bats, like at the zoo or anything like that, that they like poop all over the place. And like as he's rising, the kid's mouth is open, like it's slightly open. So I'm like, dude, that kid would be like peppered with bat poop. Like he'd be eating that. He's just floating up. And I mean, I know it's a movie, but hey, realistically, that was silliness. Like
Mm.
it was just, I don't know. It was, it just, I can't remember. There was when I was in college, one of my roommates, Tim, and we did a play, a stage play at some point in time while in school, and there was always this joke of like, like we would always yell, "I didn't do anything," and we drop our ID like right where we stood and just run as fast as we could until whatever till we stopped. And so that's what young Batman reminded me of when he just started sprinting. He's just like, "Oh, just leave me alone, and I didn't do anything to merit this or for the step." And he just started running, and then of course
Mm.
he fell into the pit where the bats eventually blew him out. So
Yeah,
it was just
Yeah.
silly.
yeah. I mean, it's like zero regard for rabies.
Yeah,
Just weird.
exactly.
The funny thing too is that they're billionaires and they had just died, but the landscaping of that whole area,
Oh,
it was already overgrown. I
yeah,
understand it could be a dream, but he should be dreaming about when they. I'm pretty sure they pay people to come mow their lawn,
right.
especially where their family is buried.
Right.
So I was all like, wow, that threw me. I was like, that okay, yeah, wilderness, whatever,
Yeah.
it is what it is. We get through that part. Another thing, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but the lack of police during all of this, during the blowing up of buildings and everything, no police kind of structuring people where to go,
Yeah.
saving people.
That's true.
Zero police, zero EMT, zero firefighters. In the Avengers, there's cops. You saw the
Yeah.
interaction between Captain America and the police, because that's what's going to happen during a catastrophe of that size.
Yeah.
Like it's like the cops are all like, you know what? Oh, we're good, bro. We're gonna go this way. You can handle whatever you can. I just thought that was obscenely odd for me. It was just very out of left field, and I don't
Yeah.
know if they couldn't afford the extras. Maybe no more heat.
Uh, Wow.
That's
I
where
wanna-
that's where I mean, I'll just go ahead and put this out there, just like we said on our initial review of this movie on our show. Like we are not Marvel lovers or haters. We're not DC lovers or haters. We just like good movies, and we just like everything to sort of fall in place properly. Well, that's one way where you can say that Marvel is getting stuff right, because even to that detail, which should be very obvious in that situation, very obvious in that situation that you need paramedics, you need policemen, you need, those people just as extras, more, visible, whereas they would have that on the Avengers movies or, shoot, freaking, this most recent Civil War, you see more presence like that. You don't see any of that, like in Batman versus Superman. It's like, well, hold on, DC, did you forget that that there needs to be those people, in place? Like it's
That's
just,
true.
you could just tell that, that something's gone awry, and maybe it was, maybe it was just part of it. I did not read that comic series, so I don't know if that was just a callback to the comics where maybe they didn't have as much law enforcement. But I mean, you would think just like just like with common sense, you need to have some policemen around doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like at least acting like they're working. So.
So Jay, is there anything that stuck out to you during that whole, intro as well, that you may have caught that we may have missed?
Actually, everything you guys have touched on, I thought about it too. I mean, I know we talked about the bats flying in the cave or in the well and whatnot, and I know initially I thought it was a dream sequence. I know when Jared and I had talked about it, I don't think he knew initially until I
Uh-huh.
said something because you were
Yeah.
talking about poop in the mouth, so
Yeah, man. That's what it looked like to me.
yeah. So, but yeah, in that initial beginning, I hadn't noticed anything different until you said the lack of EMT and police cars, and now I'm thinking about it, and I'm trying to remember through the whole movie where were the police cars and the EMTs
I
and
mean,
things like that.
were there police when they had that scene at like in Washington D.C. when the guy blew up the building? Were there
Well, they
police
had
other than the
they had,
bailiffs?
no,
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they had EMTs at the end.
Yeah.
When he was rescuing them and he flew off. I mean, you saw him there, but you didn't see him much anywhere else. In all
Yeah.
honesty, I mean, very sporadically. But I mean, I don't think you could logically blow up a government building and not have EMTs. So
Right.
at that point, they're like, "Oh yeah, here you go, whatever." And the thing that's funny to me during that whole little intro destruction scene, we have a guy who's gonna play a big callback a little bit later. He had the little thing come and crush his legs, and he says he said a phrase to Bruce Wayne after he's screaming at him, help me, get this thing off me. He says a phrase that made me cringe, and I was like, my daughter's all like, why? I said it just sounded, that was a terrible writing. I mean, in all honesty, it was, the guy goes after Bruce Wayne's talking to him trying to console him. He goes, "You're the boss," and I was all like, what? Who would say that with their legs turned into chopped beef?
Yeah.
It's and then the hugging of the little girl as he looks evilly at Superman. I don't know if y'all read the prequel, the comic, but they released a prequel comic kind of show the lead up into this movie. But the writers had it where basically Bruce Wayne was jealous of Superman because he didn't have to work out to be a hero. That was an actual line, and that is. I mean, the history of Batman, I don't think I've ever heard him say, you know what, Superman, I don't like you because you really don't have to try. And that he goes, I don't know the exact line. I lost that page. But he said something similar to, he told Alfred. Alfred mentioned something to him. And he goes, he has to, he doesn't have to try. Basically, is the gist of what he said. And, and that's kind of, if you see that, you kind of see that little... It's basically Mean Girls at this point,
Yeah.
So as they continue on, and we get through that scene, and in the extended version coming up, they go to Africa. Lois Lane is on assignment. She meets this gentleman. In the theatrical version, they don't show this, but on the extended cut, that guy that they kill, the cameraman, which they set up terribly in the theatrical version, they set up here. It is Jimmy Olsen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was terribly done, terribly written, terribly paced, terrible introduction.
Yeah.
It made no sense. This Jimmy Olsen is so entwined in Superman lore. I mean, he had his own comic book for like 30 years in the 60s,
Right.
Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. And they gloss over him. I don't know whose decision it was, because the thing of it is, I mean, they gave Christopher Nolan was kind of like the producer du jour to help kind of get this new, superhero slate for the Warner Brothers going, and they gave Zack Snyder carte blanche to do whatever the hell he wanted, and it's obviously come to bite him in the ass a little bit here. There's a girl by the name of Jenny in Man of Steel, and she's in Batman vs Superman. She was supposed to be Jimmy Olsen. Her name was originally credited in Man of Steel as Jenny Olsen. She was going to be, So people were pissed, obviously, so they changed her name to Jenny something or other, but she was credited originally as Jenny Olsen. So as like Zack Snyder's like, oh, here you dorks, here's Jimmy Olsen. We'll have him killed within the first 15 minutes of this movie. Shut up. That's basically what it came out to be.
I think that's silly. Yeah, and for some reason I thought I heard that Jimmy Olsen was supposed to be playing a bigger role in the upcoming the upcoming Batman movie. The next one that Ben Affleck is writing. I guess probably more in flashbacks or something like that. But I'm like, if he's going to play a big role in that, like in flashbacks, so you're going to have a bunch of more dream sequences or flashbacks.
Yeah, and basically,
why would you do that to him in this? Get him out of there so quickly and give him basically nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you're right. It's sort of crazy.
Yeah, it's it was like very poorly done.
Yeah.
Then we get into, Lois Lane. They kill Jimmy Olsen. No big deal because no one cares. You've set up nothing to, have him care about.
Yeah.
They kind of play up a little bit more here. Now, a thing that's fundamental with, I think, comic book heroes, the majority of them, if your name's not Wolverine, Punisher, Lobo, Deathstroke, they generally are not keen on killing people.
Yeah.
So, okay, Lois Lane, she gets captured by the African warlord. She gets taken into to be held hostage. Superman comes in. And here's another thing on the extended scene, different from the theatrical scene. A bunch of CIA guys are saying they need to go save Lois. The powers that be who watch the mission saying, no, we're just going to blow it up with a drone because, America apparently just loves killing people with drones, and that's what they're showing here. These guys just ride off and try to save her, and then they see the drone flying, and then Superman comes and kills yet another drone because, he likes doing that. And so, Superman comes in, He they have this little minute stare down with Lois. I don't know how y'all took this, but come on, if Superman hits this dude at the force that he did to drive him through like 9 walls, that dude is pink paste at the end of it.
He did.
Superman doesn't kill. I mean, he has, used kryptonite to kill some Kryptonian baddies, but they have set up this world where Superman is totally okay with killing dudes, snapping Zod's neck, turning this African warlord into, silly putty at the end of that thing. So I just don't know. I mean, that was so odd to me. I don't know how y'all felt about it.
Yeah, it was weird. It was just like, sometimes his punches, or whatever, basically drove people through walls. And sometimes, like they say, it was like a virtual love tap. You know what I'm saying? So it's sort of silliness, man. Like I don't know. It just sort of speaks to how disorganized and how there was the production value of it just wasn't good. I mean, speaking of characters that basically saw very little screen time when you knew that it was a part of it. I mean, dang, Wonder Woman. Hopefully, I'm not jumping too far ahead, but Wonder Woman, we saw her dang near the whole movie, being pretty, wearing dresses at a ball, whatever, a little bit of espionage. But we saw from the trailer, like they spoiled it way too early that she was going to be fighting in the movie. So we waited the whole movie to see it, and she came out at the end. And at the end, for a little bit of screen time, basically to put a lasso, around the villain. So it was just like, really? You set all that up just for this? I know that you're trying to set up her for her own solo movie, but you got to make it something where, I don't think that they did a great job creating full story arcs for each character. She was a character, had basically no story arc. And I guess if she did, it was like, a very short arc. It was like a McDonald's arch, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And of course, that was the only time when the crowd cheered. And
exactly.
Only time.
I mean, I think she spent a total of maybe 20, 25 minutes screen time.
Yeah.
And then she's fighting for maybe 5 of it, give or take.
Pretty much.
So, I mean, that I think very poor handled, but, it is what it is. Another thing, after that, they set up KG Beast. They don't call him KG Beast in this movie, an old Batman villain. They set him up a little bit here. They show them turning, and another big deal is that when he was shooting people in the head, that they showed blood spray. That's your rated R right there, guys.
There you go.
Blood spray headshots, and they burn bodies, so they could frame Superman with his heat vision. That was it. That's your big R rating. So we come in, we move back into Gotham. We're gonna have our introduction of Batman. Another heavy, I thought was very heavy-handed. 2 cops in their cop car. I don't know if this was in the theatrical version. I try to remember, but in the extended version that I saw, 2 cops are watching a football game between Gotham and Metropolis. Metropolis is curb stomping Gotham. That's like 50. It's a college game. Metropolis University, Gotham University, whatever. They're curb stomping them like 53-0, and there was like 2 minutes left in the game, and Metropolis throws a bomb just to score one more touchdown, and they have a fight on the field, and they make mention about, Metropolis is so superior to Gotham, blah blah blah. So I was like, message. It was basically saying Superman from Metropolis more superior than Batman, blah blah blah.
Oh, and I don't know. I don't know. Do you remember, Jay? I don't think that scene was in the original.
That's what I'm trying to remember. I don't remember seeing that scene,
and
unless I just passed out.
Yeah, I have. I was looking for just random Easter eggs in Man of Steel, or not Man of Steel, but in this, in Batman vs Superman, and in that unlimited cut, there was actually an image that came up that showed that game 58-0. Showed them playing fourth quarter, 14 seconds left, and who is the visiting team? So Metropolis. They put up. It looks like they're holding up a sign for a play, and it's actually Jack Nicholson's Joker.
No way!
Doing the Richard Nixon with 2 fingers, with peace signs up. That's on the play sign. And
no way!
It's so funny. Yeah. So see if you can find that image. It's sort of funny.
Yeah.
It's like a screenshot from ESPN, I guess, from that. And then another thing in that same scene. Okay, I've been an extra in a crowd scene for sporting events in movies before and TV shows, and so I sort of know what happened, what's going on. And the extras pretty much Like they'll give them a rundown. They say, okay, we're playing a football game. You're going for this team. You're going for that team. Just basically act like you're cheering. And then they also have like, for every, group of extras of like 100 extras, there's actually probably like 30 or 40 like cardboard cutout, real looking people mixed in there. So in that same screenshot, you look across the field at Gotham City, who is getting killed, like you say, 58 to nothing, fourth quarter, 14 seconds left. You look across the field at their fans all dressed in yellow, and there's tons of fans just like standing there, hands up like they're cheering, and they all look black. Actually, but they're all standing there. It's just like a bunch of brothers love their team. But they're all standing there like cheering the game. The game is over. Really though,
Yeah,
like I haven't seen that Ultimate Edition, but that's just another one of those things. It just goes to show you that they did not like they just shot it. And they're like, oh, this is great. Let's put it together and let's show it to the world. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like they just shot it and they threw it out there without going into detail and checking, everything, for continuity.
I don't know who the assistant director or whoever was in charge of that, but they missed a lot.
Oh yeah,
in this movie.
Right.
that's so crazy. Yeah, but that's funny that you brought that up. Maybe I'll watch it one day when that Ultimate Edition is on my TNT, maybe possibly.
Yeah, or it'll be on HBO at some point. Go on HBO
Yeah.
Go. They don't. We get to Batman. We get our first introduction to Batman. He is saving some human traffickers, I guess, or some slaves or whatever, and they don't want to get out. The cops goes upstairs, and here's the thing. Okay, Batman has already interrogated the guy, has handcuffed him, has branded him, which apparently is his thing now. Why is he staying behind in a corner to scare the cop?
That's a good question.
I know.
I mean, he is the master of stealth, and he's all like, you know what? I'm going to be in this corner. As oddly, it looked very uncomfortable to be in that corner the way he was positioned.
That's funny.
I just didn't get it. I
He
don't know if y'all
almost
got
looked
it.
like
I
a
mean,
spider,
I don't know.
Didn't he? Like he looked
Yeah.
like he's like a black like a black Spider-Man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like up in the corner. I don't know.
Maybe it was a call. I was like, Civil War has Spider-Man. We got our own, but he's kind of a bat too. So
Yeah.
here we go. But I mean, I thought that was odd. Then he just starts firing, and they show almost flint. You could have a cop almost killing another cop for no apparent reason. That sets up, your Batman. I mean, there's your introduction. I just didn't get how he was introduced. It could have been so many different ways they could have hit that, and I think they just totally missed the mark.
I mean, I remember, the older Batman, Batman movies, and it was always cool when they started out, or pretty early in the movie, they started out with him saving the day, like in a car chase or at a bank robbery or something like that. And I mean, I know they wanted to change sort of like the tone of this movie and, make him sort of change the way he was portrayed in the film. But yeah, like you said, they could have done it a different way. They could have had something else, as your introduction to Batman. They call him the Cape Crusader, right? Yeah. So,
Yeah, exactly.
So they could have had a better introduction than him playing Bat Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
like in the corner. And then,
Yeah,
and then
that's-
like the way that he like crawled across the ceiling, like I really wanted to know like if he had, I don't know, just like those plungers for hands or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like how did he do that?
Was it like Handyman? Remember that Damon Wayans movie? Did he
Yeah.
have those?
Yeah.
Because that made, I mean, as you say it now and as I try to play it back in my mind, they don't show anything of how he crawled up the ceiling like that. It was
No.
just
You're just
odd.
supposed to know that that's what he could do.
Yeah, I mean, that, oh, wow. Thanks, man. I didn't even catch that. Thank you.
Uh, don't worry, you don't have to go back and watch it now.
We get through that scene. I'm going to tell you one thing I truly did enjoy of this movie is his bat voice.
Yes.
I think they nailed that. We didn't have the Christian Bale, death metal
Man,
Batman.
Yeah, it's funny. Me and Jared were talking about that a couple of days ago. About the Christian Bale voice versus the Batfleck voice, and I love the Batfleck voice. I thought that was cool with the whole voice modulator and how it sounded. I just thought it was great.
I'm in 100% agreement with you, Jay. I mean, they handled it. I think it was awesome. I mean, it's a logical idea. It's better than changing your voice just a few octaves lower and then ripping your vocal cords to shred.
Right.
This makes sense. So I agree with you 100%.
I had to say I did not. I mean, me being a voice actor, like I liked Christian, like and maybe it's just like my stereotype against Ben Affleck, but
Mm.
I mean, I liked Christian Bale's better because it seemed more authentic. You know,
Yeah, but
what did I
it
say
like
about?
changed after three different movies. It changed every movie seemed like.
Well, yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, it probably did, obviously, because he was ripping his voice up. So he didn't do, and when you're doing a character with gravelly voice, if you don't have a gravelly voice, to start off with, you have to do so much work and able to get your voice to where it's not going to be cracking and changing, and whatnot. And obviously he didn't, they weren't thinking of that. They probably
Mm.
didn't do much, enough stage acting to know that to how to adjust for that. But I mean the voice modulator was okay, to make Batfleck's voice sound like, I don't know, almost like robotic. But
Hmm.
it just didn't like it didn't land for me the way that Christian Bale's did, because actually you could see went through an actual like progression, I think, with his character and with his voice more
Mm.
than Ben Affleck did. It just seemed to me, it seemed forced. But some people like, some people don't. Whatever. That's just my professional thing going into it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
did. It
Respect
didn't
it.
give him a chance to actually act. It
Hmm.
just it basically put that Darth Vader that Darth Vader microphone. Oh no, what did I say? I said it was like T Pain. You know what I'm saying? It was like T Pain
Auto
compared to
tune.
Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, authentic. And
Hmm.
and even though Christian Bale, was using his own voice and obviously, ripped his vocal cords to shreds, he was more the Lil Wayne compared to T Pain, changing his voice with like a synthesizer. You know what I'm saying? Like
I,
that.
Oh yeah.
That's what I felt. So
yeah, I could get that. I could get
I
that.
mean, I respect y'all's opinions, but
Mhm.
I think it was crap.
We will agree. We will agree to disagree on that one. I think me and Jay are that's 2-1, so we win. Um,
Okay, whatever.
we transitioned now into how they're smearing Superman. They have the girl testify in Congress. He answers to no one was a good line. And then we bleed into the introduction of Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg. This is where, from the get go, I was not on board. I didn't. I mean, from that point, I was like, this is not going to work. And then I was proven to be correct.
Yeah.
He is everything wrong with this movie. That shows David Goyer, the writer, Zack Snyder, the director, do not understand the material that they're given. And it's kind of strange because David Goyer wrote the Christopher Nolan trilogy, and those were pretty spot on. But how bad they missed here. Jesse Eisenberg, just to give y'all a little heads up, he was supposed to play Jimmy Olsen
Yeah.
because they wanted him to be,
Right.
this is a
That's
big
right. I
name.
remember that.
Yeah, we talked.
Yeah, he's a big name and he's gonna die. That'd be cool. The Drew Barrymore from Scream kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh no, let's make him Lex Luthor, and it never worked. They make him. He basically is playing Mark Zuckerberg from The Social Network with a little bit of I guess Asperger's maybe. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
When I think
He.
what happened, like I think we talked about. I think what happened was yeah, like you said, he was originally supposed to play Jimmy Olsen. I think he just happened to read the lines, like just like throw in an audition,
Mhm.
for Lex Luthor, and they liked it so much because of whatever quirky things that he did that they're like, oh,
Mhm.
we're gonna change that. Yeah,
I,
like you said, it didn't land at all properly.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't like Gene Hackman's portrayal of Lex Luthor in the original Superman's. I thought it was very campy, a little hackney. My true
Yeah.
envision of Lex Luthor has been the animated version where they made this dude a badass.
Uh-huh.
He was manipulative.
Right.
He was strong, but not like super strong. But he was a presence, and you didn't get that from Jesse Eisenberg. He never controlled any of the scenes he was in. He was neurotic. He was Woody Allen. Basically, he was just this small neurotic man. We have the scene. I don't know. I'm pretty sure this was in the theatrical version because I saw this with my daughters and we both said, "Oh my God, that is disgusting." He force feeds a Jolly Rancher into an old man's mouth.
How
That
did I know you
is
were gonna say
I
that?
remember that. It's
that
so
is the
nasty.
most disgusting thing I have ever seen in this movie, and we'll get to the Doomsday reveal later, and that's just equally disgusting. But this was so off-putting. Like, I was like, oh, my kids were like, oh, Jesus. I mean, everybody was like, oh, what the hell? I don't know if they're trying to convey he was powerful, but this dude was a senator who held technically all the power in the situation because Lex is asking for all this stuff. So why would Lex be trying to put himself in power by shoving I don't know if Zach was trying to go for the imagery of confessional, where you get, where you get the communion wafer. I don't know if that's what he was going for, but it was so off-putting. And I mean, I was like, at this point, this movie can only go down. It was so off-putting. I don't know about you gentlemen, but oh my God.
Now, did you feel he was very like Joker-like in a sense? With the way
Yes.
his mannerisms and the way he was just acting completely, I don't know, it was just weird to see him act. It just didn't feel like the Lex Luthor that I'm
Yes.
used to,
I mean, some of the comic book runs recently, some of the stronger comic book runs, Lex is a power, and he's never one to get caught. He never has his hands dirty. Jesse played him. I swear to God, I've had this conversation with someone. He did play him exactly like Lex Luthor, and we'll jump to the end here, but he ends up in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, so he is Joker Jr. or Joker the Second, however you want to measure it. But yeah, Jay, that is awesome. That's a good comparison because he played it like the Joker. It made no sense. It made zero sense, and it just so off-putting.
All I could think, all I could think of was, how Keith Ledger basically revolutionized the Joker. Like he changed it, and it was amazing, pretty much by everyone's account. It was like, the best Joker. Don't say anything to Jack Nicholson about that, but the best Joker. So he changed. So maybe, just maybe, that's what Eisenberg was trying to do. Maybe he was trying to say, okay, I know your Lex Luthor is this guy, but I'm going to see what's going to happen if I do this. And then obviously, the director, has a major play in saying yes or no, to whatever the actor's choices are. But maybe Zack Snyder was down with it too. So he didn't change it. He, didn't give him any notes to say, hey, that's not going to work. Maybe he liked it too, just because he wanted to, obviously he was changing the way he was going to. So maybe that was just Jesse Eisenberg trying to throw some darts, at a chalkboard or darts at a dartboard in the dark, and try something new, and it just flopped. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I think.
It missed terribly. The thing about it is, a lot of people say that Batman vs Superman, they change a lot, but they're not changing for the better here. When Heath did the Joker, he locked himself in that room. He read everything. He immersed himself within everything of the Joker. And he made the Joker his own while still staying true to the character of the Joker, which is he is chaos and embodied in a person. It's basically what it is. He's there to have fun and destroy things. And I mean, the scars were a little off-putting at first, but everything worked within that structure. Yeah. I mean, my wife, who's not a big movie fan like me and my daughters, she was even enthralled by his performance. She loved the little mannerisms he did, like. He had makeup on his fingers because you could see him putting makeup on him, that he put his own makeup, that he was always licking his lips where his scars were. She loved those little touches, and that shows how awesome of his performance he is, because I look at myself as the hardcore, I look at my wife as the casual. Yeah. You have to hit us both, when you try to sell a movie like this. Mm-hmm. And they miss with Lex. They miss terribly with it. We're gonna kind of jump up a little bit here. I want to say Lawrence Fishburne as Perry is one of my favorite things in the movie. Mm-hmm. I thought he was good in Man of Steel, and he was good in this movie. Yeah. That's one score for Zack Snyder or whoever cast him, because it probably wasn't Zack Snyder. Yeah, but and I thought was a great use of a secondary character. But if you're familiar with the cartoons, I don't know how familiar you were with the Superman animated series, but Mercy, his valet, she was a badass. She would fight and all this cool stuff. Mm. Mercy in this movie says 0 lines. Even in the extended version, she says 0 lines, and she is 100% wasted. I thought it was a shame. It makes no sense. She should still be here. It makes no sense. I'm blown away by that. Another thing, Bruce apparently is an alcoholic and sleeps with women. I don't know how he has time at the night.
Yeah, right.
What I'm saying? He's Batmaning through the night, but picks up a girl at 4 a.m, 5 a.m, sleeps with her, drinks a couple of bottles of champagne, down some painkillers, because our Batman in this world needs to be gritty, and damn it, he needs to be a pill-popping alcoholic.
That's right.
And that's how that works. So, I mean, I mean, we'll get into this here in a little bit of why that is, but
Wait,
I mean,
was that his wife? I thought
no, I don't think
for
No,
some
no,
reason
no.
I thought that was like Batwife.
No,
No,
that was
yeah.
probably just late night hooker.
Yeah, you know what? You go to jail or you give me some trim and we'll call it even.
Right.
Something. Because, I mean, yeah, you're right. They don't play it. They don't say how they met up. I mean, because honestly, he's the Dark Knight who operates at night. So when did he meet this woman? Was she just at his house like, oh, I'm ready whenever you are? Is he like Julia Roberts? Did he Richard Gere this woman into like, oh, look, I'll give you $1 million. You stay here for a month. When I'm ready, I hit you and I'm out. So I don't know how they don't really extend on how that works. We go through, we get to the big reveal, not the big reveal. We get the, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm backtrack a little bit here, but Clark Kent starts to investigate Batman, which they just call the Bat Vigilante for some reason. No one calls him Batman for a while, which is odd because the lead up in this movie is that Batman has been Batmaning for years prior to Superman coming to. So why would the news people not know that he is Batman? Because they obviously have the bat signal, so they know who the hell he is. They could call him Batman, but they're like Bat Vigilante. Like, why? No one calls him Batman for a while.
The Bat brand.
None of it. And then we get into the party that Lex throws, and the whole. I know why he did it. I know why Zach put that scene where he goes, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. I'm glad I put these two together. He's trying to like, oh, hey guys, wink, wink, Batman, Superman,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So, I think later on we come to find out. I think he knows who Superman is, but it doesn't really say into if he knows who Batman is. So I kind of see that. But they go into that. I don't know if you remember this, but his speech was very weird. Just like, I don't know if they're trying to play up his Asperger-ness or whatever, but it just, that whole speech sequence was honestly, no one in their right mind would have been let him stay up there and ramble as long as he did. If I'm a multi-billion-dollar company, I'm not letting my CEO sound like he's a stammering drunk for 15 minutes. It was amazing. We get through that. We get the first glimpse of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, which, beautiful woman, Fast and Furious. She'll be having her own, solo movie here soon. Yeah, and the thing of it is, like, her whole thing is to be, like, not seen. She's trying to get a picture of herself, Mm-hmm. And why the hell did she stay there and look dead in Bruce Wayne's eyes and then take off? All the time it took for him to turn around to see her, she should have been in that damn car and left, and he would never have known. Yeah. It just makes zero sense to me. It was, boy.
It just goes to the rest of this movie making zero sense.
Exactly.
It's all silly, man. I remember that. Yeah, and I thought the same thing too. I was like, what is she doing? Why didn't she just go? Yeah, and it's just too much, man. Too much silly.
Yeah, and then we get into another big player, the gentleman in the wheelchair we first introduced. He goes to deface the statue of Superman, and this dude's got to have upper body strength like you wouldn't believe, to not only propel himself out of the wheelchair, but to climb up the hand of him like nothing. Yep. They played that off. They shot that really odd. And then he gets arrested. But, we get to see the machinations of Lex here. Bails this gentleman out, but doesn't give him a ride to his house so he can meet him there. So, that's okay. So, I just thought that was weird. And here's another little tidbit. He gets to drop the F-bomb in the extended version. There is your R rating there, gentlemen.
Right.
One F word. Congratulations. You wasted on the character no one cared about. There it is. Yeah. We get into the what I like to call the Batman Mad Max edition or Fury Road edition, and where he is Batman as a character, not a fan of guns. Killed his parents. His parents were killed by a gun. He doesn't use guns in the comics. That's kind of his thing. But in the dream sequence, he's all like, you know what? I'm going Chuck Norris on this one. He was Batman John Wick style, start popping people in the head. And here's, another little tidbit for your extended edition R rating. More blood, more headshots. A headshot's going to equal R rating, apparently. And so that's what we got. And then we're introduced, they do the kind of dark side reveal with the Omega symbol. You got the parademons. So we're going to play into that. And, you know, he wakes up from this dream sequence, and the Flash comes into play here for no apparent reason.
Right.
It makes no sense to have the Flash. I'm not a fan of Ezra Miller. You know, Grant Gustin is my Flash. That gentleman is not my Flash. His suit is terrible. That he looked horribly CG'd for the amount of budget that this movie had. He looks so out of place. He was Pixar on a live action movie. Not even. He was actually the people who did, you know, one of these terrible movies, Norma of the North or whatever. Just these really bad CG. It was off-putting. I don't know what y'all thought. I thought it made zero sense in the scope of the story. You know, it's just it was off-putting to me. So I don't know what y'all thought.
Oh, I had absolutely no clue what was going on when the Flash appeared. I mean, did he just stick his head out of a portal? Was he like running super fast in one place?
I know
I don't know. I was totally confused about that scene. Like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
It in the gist of the whole movie, I mean, in this jumbled mess, it was just more mess on top of it. To me, it didn't work. Oh man, it was all over the place. And you know, now we go into the scene of him trying to track down the white Portuguese, or the white Portuguese, I believe was the thing, which it was kind of funny because they're making it sound like, oh, it's a dude the whole time, and it ends up being a boat, which is kind of a letdown. But thank God, because I mean that seems kind of odd. Just called as a mobster. If you call me the white Portuguese, that's not very fear-inducing.
It doesn't
So
make sense.
yeah, you know, but you know, here he puts a tracking device, and I mean, he's at the top of a crane, shoots a tracking device, and gets to his Batmobile ridiculously fast to be in front of these people, like 2 blocks away, and then he proceeds to murder an obscene amount of people through cars. I mean, like I had a discussion with a friend of mine. He talks about how, oh no, that, you know, you don't see those guys dying. No, I'm sorry. Your car flips over 19 times, you're dead. Your car bursts into flames, you're dead. Then his guns on his Batmobile, they're not shooting rubber bullets. They're shooting bullets.
Yeah.
He has 50 cals on those things, or you know, whatever kind of caliber gun, but he is laying waste to a ton of people. I know that they try to go dark and gritty here, but that's one of the tenets of Batman. That's something that shouldn't change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of these the movies have steered away from that because Christopher Nolan killed a lot. Batman killed a lot, if you think about it. You know, not by his end. And like they said on the Ra's al Ghul, I don't have to save you, so you can die on your own. But he still killed Ra's al Ghul by not saving him as well. He wouldn't kill the murderer, and you know, that they were going to kill, but he killed everybody else in that thing by burning the place down.
Uh-huh.
So by sparing one man's life, he murdered 90 other people. Kind of doesn't flow, and it's kind of the same thing here. It's just ridiculous. And you know, we get through that whole scene. It's a lot of unnecessary slow-mo here. And I think it's also, as we, you know, I'm trying to speed this along. We get to the Capitol, they're having another hearing, but the way it's shot, even in the extended edition, they make the Capitol seem like it's in Gotham City, not in Washington, D.C. I don't know if y'all got that same vibe, but to me, the way it's shot is like, oh, you know, Gotham is the nation's capital.
Yeah, that's sort of what it seemed like too. It was weird. I don't know. It was weird. Yeah, the way it was set up, it did seem like that. So.
And then we get to the, you know, they call Superman in. The lady, I think in the extended edition, if you haven't seen it, the lady who testified originally against Superman, she sees the KGB, she sees all these guys, so she goes to tell the senator or congresswoman that, oh, you know, I lied the whole time, you know. So they set up that big reveal, which was also just awful. I mean, just, and then they go, you know, they do that whole process. They have the dude in the wheelchair there. In this new super, you know, his super wheelchair. You know, she's having, you know, Helen Hunt, or I don't want to say Helen Hunt. I just blanked on her name. But the congresswoman is.
Yeah, that's Helen Hunt. Yeah, you're right.
Is it? Oh, okay, damn.
Yeah.
She's having her thing, and in a callback to an earlier discussion between her and Lex in his home, which honestly I don't know why she met him at his house. That's another thing that I just glossed over. But they talk about you could call a bucket of piss grandma's peach tea, but it doesn't change the flavor or something.
Right.
Lex actually pees I guess, or get someone to pee in a jar for him to leave it up there. And none of the senators saw a jar of piss right there, or another Congress people like, oh, that's odd. Why would a pea color liquid just be sitting there? They got there obviously before she did.
Yeah.
That's odd. Well, we'll leave this piss color liquid here. No big deal.
I don't remember
Yeah.
that.
So
Just a random mason jar of apple juice.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was so odd. This was also kind of upsetting. Mercy dies here. Spoiler alert, I'm sorry, but Mercy dies here. Like I said, total waste of a character. I mean, there was no need for her to die. She wasn't betraying him in any way. She didn't, he thought so little of her, just like, whatever. I'll blow her up with everybody else to make a point. That was so terrible, and then you got your Crisis of Faith by Superman. He takes off, it goes mopey because he's emo Superman. This is just, and then they show Alfred living in a trailer. I don't know if y'all caught that. I don't know if that was in the extended edition, but Alfred lives in a Jetstream trailer, the all chrome one.
Was that Jay? Was that in the theatrical?
I'm trying to think about that one too. I don't remember.
I don't.
Yeah,
know.
Yeah, it's probably in the extended then that they show him cutting wood and living in a trailer.
That's pretty messed up.
Because, Batman doesn't live in his parents' house. It's now disheveled, which makes sense now, not to what it was then. And I was like, really? You live in this, super cool glass house, but Alfred has to live with something that looks like it has no AC? You're a billionaire, my friend. Give your man a house. Then they start to sow the seeds here, of like, Lex is playing them, but it doesn't really seem like he is, because all they have to do is talk to each other and they can knock this stuff out in 10 minutes. But we go through, and then you got to get your obligatory montage of CrossFit, because CrossFit is everything.
Of course.
Bruce is CrossFitting it up. He gets that all done, and he gets the little drive back from Wonder Woman earlier in the movie. They were both trying to steal. He gets it back. He looks it up. He hacks it. And then one of the things that's kind of funny, I don't know if y'all caught this in the theatrical version, but when he opens that up and he sees the files of the metahumans, they all already have logos of the superheroes. Mm-hmm. So if Cyborg is not even Cyborg at this point, so why would Cyborg have a logo of Cyborg? Yeah. Why would that be a thing? Why does Wonder Woman have a logo? Why does the Flash have a logo? Why does Aquaman have a logo? It's like they gave him names. I'm pretty sure he's not called Aquaman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's, I wonder how they're going to play that in. Or she's just Diana. She's not Wonder Woman. Right. She doesn't say, I'm Wonder Woman, I'm pretty sure they'll probably reference this here in her movie. And the whole reveal of Doomsday, where he was birthed because of blood from Lex cutting his hand, and he's in this ambiotic fluid, and he transforms into Sloth from the Goonies on steroids. Right. It was bad to use Doomsday here.
Yes,
it's a waste of a great storyline. Mm-hmm. It's a waste of a great character. It was just a waste. It was a miss on me.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. It's just so many misses. You know what I'm saying? It's like how many times can they strike out in one movie? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they had.
Oh, they're going.
They're going for the record of strikeout.
And then we also come to the fact after the blow up, they're actually, I don't know if you paid attention to the news cuts that they had of this, but they try to make it seem like Superman helped this dude build bombs. That makes zero sense. This dude is basically God. Why the hell would he need to make bombs with the dude in a wheelchair? And then the whole reveal of how Lois Lane's like, oh, he wasn't going to kill himself because he bought groceries. Okay. That's like, he went to the Piggly Wiggly, so he's not going to kill himself, guys, because, he planned on living till he finished that carton of milk.
Right.
That makes no sense. And then we get, Superman goes to some mountain range. I don't say where he's at. Has a vision of his father, which is... I'm gonna go ahead and call this a dream sequence, guys. I'm gonna knock that out, and that's another dream sequence here. Makes zero sense. His dad was a terribly written character on the front. He didn't have to die in Man of Steel. His death was wasted, and to have him come back to give him more bad advice. And then he tells the story about how they fixed this one thing, and they made a dam, and then they flooded this other farm. Uh-huh. But he would have to have already told his son this story for him to have this vision of his dad telling him this story. So he's rehashing something he already knows to prove what point. You know what I'm saying?
No clue.
You know what I'm saying? Because, he's already heard the story. The story is not really relevant to anything. Mm-hmm. It's just it's just so weird. I mean, let's say he never heard that story, so he is just making up a story and having his dad tell it. You know, that's just so weird. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, were y'all surprised when you saw him? Because in the original Nolan trilogy, when I saw Ra's al Ghul in the third one, I was like, damn. When I saw his dad here, I was like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That's exactly what I thought. I didn't know what he was doing there, what relevance he had to the whole thing. Like you guys said, a bunch of big misses. So
and let me ask y'all. Did y'all know that Metropolis and Gotham's only separated by a river?
Yeah, I know. I thought that was silly too.
yeah,
I thought that was just great. I was like, well, is it, because what I was thinking was just basically place it in the New York, New Jersey, area, New York City area. Then maybe you could say that, that Gotham is New York City and Metropolis is, across the river, if you will, where
right.
Jersey is, or vice versa, whatever. But
Yeah.
I didn't really realize that. Was that from the original comic, Jay?
I don't know, Jay. Do you know?
I can't recall. I honestly can't recall. But one thing I did notice, and you guys may have noticed it too, but just the atmosphere of Gotham versus Metropolis. Like Metropolis was all light,
Uh-huh.
and,
Yeah.
and Gotham had this cloud overcast type of feeling over it. I don't know if you guys actually seen that. I know I've read it
Which
in
which
many
part
places.
again?
So let's say you're looking at Metropolis, right? And it's this
Uh-huh.
very sunny, sunshiny type place. So there's
Uh-huh.
always the sun casting on that. But then you go to Gotham, and you can see this in like a lot of the older movies,
Uh-huh.
that it's never really a bright day.
That's
It's
true.
always this very gloomy type look
Overcast.
to it. Yeah, even in the Gotham TV show,
Yeah.
there's not really there's just a couple different tones I've seen, and of course you could make that comparison to Batman versus Superman. Like Superman is this child of the sun or whatever you want to call him,
Mhm.
and Batman is this very dark, gritty type person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the way that Zack Snyder has handled Superman here and in Man of Steel, they made him gritty as well. It's like his edict is, oh, Christopher Nolan made him gritty and everybody loved him. Let's take Superman and make him gritty because the blue is muted. They've used a lot of muted colors, a lot of gray. Like
Right.
Man of Steel was very like not like a dark movie as far, like dark and gritty, but like darkly shot.
Yeah,
A lot of muted colors and stuff like that.
yeah, that's
And
true.
Superman has always been the light. He's the Boy Scout. He's not
Right.
naive, but he's good-hearted. He's a country boy and all this stuff. But they don't play that at all here. I mean, that's what Christopher Reeve did so well in the original. He could play the dumb, goofy farm guy, but also when he was Superman, he just bright. He's smiling. He's all this stuff. Our Henry Cavill is a wooden, stoic, frowny, emo Superman. Is basically what he is.
Yeah.
True, very true.
So we have Doomsday built. We have Lex Luthor kidnapping Martha. It's going to come to play it here. They put Martha in a warehouse, and a dude has a light machine gun pointed at his head, or her head, which I thought was way overkill. This is like a 60-something-year-old woman. You do not need a light machine gun on a 60-year-old
Oh,
woman
you
with
totally
no
do
fighting
need a
skills.
light machine gun. You think a 60-year-old woman too? They be packing. It was a lot of overkill. I mean, maybe they were just trying to put the fear in her and make everyone, sort of fear for her life.
Yeah, but it's just, all of that was wrong. The trident, or no, the spear that Bruce had made, which we'll come into a moment here. They have a decent fight scene, but the problem is, Lex blackmails him. God, I still hate everything about Jesse Eisenberg. They blackmail him. You got to go save him. You got an hour. He uses an egg timer because, whatever.
Yeah.
And he flies over there, and he doesn't say a word to Batman. There's no proof that Lex can hear them talking. He doesn't say, oh, I'm listening or watching you, by the way. All I had to do was land there and say, hey, he has kidnapped my mother. Please help me save her. Boom, y'all go and take care of business. It's just... then they just start fighting, for the reasons only known to them. I mean, that whole fight sequence was weird. This whole movie been building up.
Yeah.
If you're on the DVD or the extended version, this is almost 3 hours into the damn thing.
Really?
You get it. Yeah. I mean, you get it, and you're all like, okay, here it is. And then they fight for a little bit. Some of the scenes are. I mean, it's shot very well. Like I said, he's a great visual director. it's so over quickly. And then the Martha, the thing that birthed 1,000 memes. You know, the whole scene played off. Then we get to the thing that launched 1,000 memes, the Martha line. And, you know, that's why they stopped fighting.
Yeah.
You know, Martha. You know, and it was terrible. I'm sorry. There's nothing that you can tell me, or there's nothing you could tell me that says that was a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
it just. And then, you know, none of it worked. You know, oh, and by the way, you know, Batman emailed, you know, Diana, like, oh, hey, this is you in this old picture of you in 1930. I mean, hell, she could have took that thing at the Six Flags, you know, in that little booth where you change and made it all look old-timey. So, but he's all like, oh, this is so old. And then she finally, you know, comes to her sense, wants to help out. But the thing of it is, let's say you have a catastrophic level event that, you know, because Doomsday is shown, he looks like a bad mix of Sloth and one of the Ninja Turtles in the Michael Bay movie. Mm-hmm. Very poorly designed, just unbelievably poorly designed. He had a pretty major camel toe going. I don't know if y'all caught that, but
I wasn't looking that close.
Yeah, well, I was like,
Go?
Doomsday,
Oh.
like, because he was naked, he didn't have no clothes, you know.
I don't want to see that kind of code on.
Yeah, I know. It was like very off-putting. It was like a very front pouch going thing there. He had a fanny pack or something, but it was a moose knuckle to end all moose knuckles. But, you know, we get through that scene, his reveal, and it didn't click. You know, none of it made sense. The whole deal about throwing away the spear, then, you know, Lois is drowning, and blah, 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 blah.
No sense.
Yeah, no, it didn't click. It didn't click. So that's basically, you know, the rest of the movie is, you know, just hot garbage to me, the way it ended. You know, and then the whole line where Superman asks him, you know, do you know her? He's like, I thought she came with you. Dude, you just emailed her. Uh-huh. You know who she is. She's not wearing a mask. That's the girl you know. You know her. He doesn't know her. You know her. So it was like, I don't get that line. I thought it was, you know, they was trying to play for last, and it just fell flat.
Yeah, it's
you know,
like they had this whole movie full of like zero comedy, and then you're going to try to pull that at that moment in the movie when we've already seen it in the trailer. By the way,
exactly.
You know, it's just sort of stupid. Like if they were going to do that in the trailer, they should have decided to make more comedy throughout the film. But maybe, just maybe, they thought Jesse Eisenberg would be funny. You know
yeah. If they were banking on that they lost that bet. They lost the house.
You know, I don't get it.
They, you know, Superman, instead of giving that spear to Wonder Woman, they could have done so many ways to end that. You didn't have to have him die. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, sorry again. You didn't have to have Superman die. There was handled poorly. You've wasted a great storyline. It just fell. You know, that whole part fell. He dies, but you know, of course, he's not technically dead like any other great comic. He's not really dead. He's in a Kryptonian coma, is what they said in the comic, which I thought was ridiculous, but they made it. They're probably going to use that line here as well. And then that's pretty much how we ended it. My take, if I was going to give it on, you know, a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 3. Visually nice, put together everything poorly. I would go with the Jared Hooker vote here. Yeah. It was about a 3. Yeah. I mean, visually nice. Didn't go with me. I don't know if you have any little add-ons to that. You know, since y'all's cast.
You know, I'm still stuck in the middle. I'm like in the middle. It wasn't great, and it wasn't super garbage. I'm gonna give it the garbage, but it was just right in the middle, just average. I wouldn't go see it again. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Okay, it wasn't warm dumpster juice. It was, you know, slightly cold dumpster juice, and we'll go with that.
I could say I saw worse super.
Yeah, that's true.
I could say that. Let's just put it that way.
Green Lantern will always be the benchmark, and Jonah Hex.
There you go.
Or even Ghost Rider. Oh, God, jeez. We'll have to do that one at some point. Jared, you got anything to add on that?
I was just going to see here. You know, when like you just see like your little nephew or your son, you know, because we have sons and they're like little, and they like run up to you, you know, because they see you for the first time, or, you know, they see you like coming, they're like, uncle, or they're like, daddy. And they're like running so really hard, and they like slam into you super fast to give you a hug, and they just like hit you in the nuts, and it hurts.
Yeah.
And it's like you were not really expecting that, but you
You were
knew,
embracing
yeah,
for it.
but you knew that it wasn't going to be pretty for some reason. But then all of a sudden, yeah, you're like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. Dang, that's sort of what I felt like this movie was like. It was like, okay,
A
it
straight
can't be that bad. Really, it can't be that bad. Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Is that
So
bad?
I'm leaving it down there. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't remember what I rated it, but I think my rating has gone down closer to a zero. It's like in the point two status. And for
Hey.
all the fanboys, that are gonna kill me over or whatever, dog, come at me. But like
Hashtag at hashtag Blackout
yeah,
Podcast.
at H tag Blackout Pod on Twitter and on Instagram. Come and find us. I'm
Get
ready.
at the boy.
Yeah, send us an email. Hashtag blackoutpod at gmail.com. Let me know what you feel. Because I mean, I love Superman. Superman was like, that we talked about this on our show. Superman was my boy. You know what I'm saying? My favorite Batman ever, was Michael Keaton's Batman back in the day. I
Yeah.
love both of those characters individually. This film just made me not even ever want to watch them again, and that makes me sad. You know,
Hmm.
it makes me sad.
I agree. The thing of it is, a lot of people I've gotten discussions with, fanboys and whatnot, is that I think honestly Zack Snyder doesn't care about the history. He's making his movie. He had an idea of just scenes. It's like, okay, I have this scene, I have this scene. Let's, and then I just need to tie them together in some way, shape, or form. He doesn't care about the history of the character because if he did, he wouldn't have Batman straight up murdering. I think if you follow Mr. Sunday, I think on YouTube, they did a death count of what Bruce Wayne did, and if you include the dream sequence, he killed over almost 40 people within that movie. That doesn't fly. That's mass murderer levels. That was the greatest thing about the stories of, the world's finest, Batman, Superman, the cartoons. The cartoons got it. Adventures of Superman, bright, colorful, he was that Boy Scout. Batman was dark and, gritty, and he had the rogues gallery to match it. They don't get that, and they just say, okay, people love Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy because it was dark and it was different, but let's make Superman the same way. And you can't have two characters who are going to be like, to have their fundamental differences, but then you make them exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what you've done. You made them exactly the same. And that's why these movies are not resonating with the casual audience, because you're going to have the comic book fans who are going to go see these movies. You need to get the casual guys. You need to get the casual fans, the borderline fans, the people who don't know the stories, who don't read the comic books, who've kind of just seen the cartoons. Because the comic fans will always see these movies, will always be, cautiously optimistic of these movies. The casual fan is always going to bring you the actual money. And that's why it's failed. I mean, this movie failed tremendously, and it cost a lot of people their jobs. Zack Snyder will not direct another DC movie after Justice League because, like I said, it was supposed to be a two-parter. Now it's a one-parter.
Thank God.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Jeff Johns has been given creative control. He's like now supposedly the Kevin Feige on the Marvel side for DC. So this movie failed. I mean, people can like it because people like bad movies. That's just that's the way the world works. But you cannot look at this movie and say, "Oh, it was a great movie," when you see the turmoil that it caused, the repercussions of this movie not succeeding was tremendous.
Yeah. You're so right about that. Yeah, and they don't know what they say they know what they're going to do going forward, but I could, when you turn the light on in the South, we know this, being in the South, especially in the summertime, like, or after the rain, like, you turn the light on in a room and all the roaches just like scramble. Like, that's
Yeah,
what I saw,
exactly.
like, after the reviews started coming back and after people started, like, dropping hate on this movie. Like, I just was like, would be like a fly on the wall at the DC offices, and all of them are scrambling, like, what do we do? What do we do? We better run. We better hide. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I see going on, because I think they don't
Exactly.
have a true direction. I think the only thing that would save them is if they stole one of the Marvel directors that's actually doing it right.
Yeah.
Like the who's that? Like the Coen brothers, right?
No, there's a Russo
The
brothers.
Russo. Dang it, I'm thinking they're brothers, whatever. So the
Yeah.
Russo brothers, or even Josh Whedon, even though he
Yeah.
got some flack for Ultron. I mean, still one of the directors that is doing it right, James Gunn. If they were able to steal one of those guys and put him on, the Justice League, or put him on some other ensemble that they're going to be doing. Excuse me, sorry, maybe Teen Titans in the future when that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe, just maybe, they'll get a little bit of direction back. But until they get somebody in there who has a clear, clean cut, perfect callback, or not even extremely perfect, but a good callback to what the comic series was for that specific or those specific characters, then they're just going to be sort of stuck in Neverland, just floating.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Some of the I'm gonna go over some of the like some of these facts about the movie. Batman is supposed to be 45 or 46 years old within this universe.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been Batmaning for a while. Obviously, I mean, you saw the Jason Todd call out, with the suit and everything. Which is, I don't know if you've heard this rumor, but some are saying that the Joker that Jared Leto is playing is actually Jason Todd. They have some convincing theories on this as far as like the scar placement and the scars that are on the actual, or the holes in the suit. It's actually, I think if they did that, it'd probably be pretty cool. I mean, I'm not a fan of the way the Joker's portrayed with all the tattoos and the whatnot, but that would be an interesting take. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you think about that take on the Joker, Jay? We hadn't even had a really good
I
chance.
mean, I heard about it. I heard about it, but I'm curious to see what the whole Suicide Squad is gonna turn out being. The whole tie-in to this, that suit in Batman's Batcave or whatever. I mean, I'm sure that'll be, hopefully, cross your fingers, the DC movie that'll kind of get this one forgotten about. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
To cleanse the palate.
Yeah, there you
if
go.
will. I mean, and another thing, as far as calling back to the thing that DC doesn't understand, I think that Marvel understands so well, is they get fans of the material. James Gunn is a fan of the material.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can see it within what he directs, and he actually wrote it too. So that's kind of amazing, And the Russo brothers, big fans, and you can see it. Josh Whedon, he actually wrote the X-Men for a little while. Mm-hmm. Big comic book fan. Zack Snyder, to me, does not come off as a comic book fan, and it shows. Mm-hmm. When they gave whoever directed Green Lantern the thing, I don't think he was a fan because that showed. And that's what they need. They need fans of the material. Get a fan.
Yeah.
Find someone. Do that. Vet that process.
Yeah.
Like what's your greatest comic series of this character,
Yeah.
and let them really tell you. So we'll see how that goes. A couple more little trivia facts. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, if you're familiar with it, he played the comedian in The Watchmen. He was the dad on Supernatural.
Yes.
He was also Bruce Wayne's dad in the beginning who died. He was up originally for Batman instead of Ben Affleck. I think he would done pretty good. I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I think he would have been a pretty good Batman. I thought he would have pulled that off. But I don't know if he wanted to be in another comic book movie of that, with Zack Snyder. Maybe he knows he's not as great as his director, maybe. But I don't know why that never played out. Also, Ben Affleck was originally offered to direct Man of Steel. He passed because he felt that he was not ready for a superhero movie. He didn't feel like the CG. I don't think he was ready for it in his mind. But
now he's ready. He's ready to take on the Batman.
Man.
Yeah, because I think because the paycheck was actually a little bit better now. After seeing how bad he goes, I can't be worse than Zack Snyder.
Exactly.
Can I?
Yes.
Because no way, dude. The Town is a great movie. I don't know if you've seen The Town, but The Town he directed, I loved. I thought he got a great performance out of himself, obviously, and then Jeremy Renner. Great movie. I don't know what you think on The Town, but I thought he did good.
I don't watch any Ben Affleck movies. Sorry. Even though I did see Batman vs Superman, that's just because I like Superman.
I'm gonna recommend to you watch The Town.
Does it come on TNT or is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it is on TNT. You can watch it free. There's ways to get it, but yeah, I would recommend The Town. A great movie, good heist movie. Jeremy Renner just kills it in that movie. You got Hawkeye versus Batman, so it works. Mm-hmm. Give it a shot, man. He's not as bad as you think. He's actually turned a corner, I think, directorially wise. I mean, he won an Oscar for Argo, so he can't be that bad.
Okay.
He's still not
I know
convinced.
he's.
It's all shade.
Yeah,
This
no,
is
he's
all
not.
shade.
Yeah,
100. So,
yeah, I get you. It's all right, man. We all got our people like that. Zack Snyder is mine. I will never watch another Zack Snyder movie. As much as I love 300, I will not. This is it. I'm done. I may watch Justice League, but he won't get an actual penny from me. So if I get a gift certificate or something, then I'll go watch it. Some more news, little tidbit in fact. Tom Hanks, Matt Damon, Adam Driver, Bradley Cooper were all considered for Lex Luthor. We ended up with Jesse Eisenberg.
yep.
That is amazing.
Wasn't Bryan Cranston? Bryan Cranston was
Bryan
supposed
Cranston.
to be him. He was supposed to be him, but they
Yes.
changed him up when Eisenberg
Red.
like
Yeah.
read for the role.
Yeah, I forgot about adding Bryan Cranston, but yeah, Bryan Cranston would have been, I think, an ideal Lex Luthor. I think he would have played exactly how I envisioned the character to be portrayed. You know, Walter White, but more, not as silly. You know what I'm saying? I think a more colder Walter White, if possible, if you
Yeah,
could get that.
yeah.
Okay, guys, now what we're going to do, this is our first episode, we're going to do what's called the pitch. Now, the pitch is basically our pitch to the movie. We're going to discuss real quick some ideas we have for new cast members. Now, we don't have to go exactly how this movie, we don't have to make it Batman versus Superman. We don't have to, if we want to change it, make it just a Batman movie or just a Superman movie. However you want to do it, we'll do it. Let's go ahead and then we'll discuss our cast, and then we'll actually go into our little plot details. So since y'all are the away team, the visiting team, I'll open the floor to you, gentlemen.
Oh boy,
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I basically just like grabbed a few people for each for each character, just because I couldn't really decide on one, but I do want to take it in a different way, because I mean, if DC is just letting their directors do whatever the heck they want to do, I'm like, well, I should be able to do whatever the heck I want to do. So
You have carte sponsor.
so directorially, I would have to say I would like to have somebody that can handle an ensemble, also women, powerful women in a movie, just because we didn't see enough Wonder Woman, really being Wonder Woman. We didn't. She all of a sudden just had, like you said, she had just like a symbol and a logo without us knowing why. But I want to see somebody bring her to light, as well as handle the other superheroes. So I don't know if he's actually done a superhero film, or maybe he's done maybe a small budget one, but Quentin Tarantino, because why not?
Yeah,
Ooh,
Because why
nice.
not?
yeah.
Because he's
There would be
crazy.
That'd be rated R, right?
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
that'd be exactly that's exactly what they would want, and a lot of N words
Of
would be
course,
dropped.
Of
yeah,
course, yes.
drop them like they're hot. So yeah, so Quentin Tarantino will be the director. I'll keep Gal Gadot because they ain't give her a chance. That
Yeah.
poor girl didn't get no chance. So I'm gonna keep her where she is. I'm gonna keep Henry Cavill, because you know what? Even though he wasn't like over the top amazing, he wasn't my OG Christopher Reeve. He was consistent, and he also, it was basically like a Batman movie with a little bit of Superman sprinkled in and just a slight dash of Wonder Woman. So yeah, so
Yeah.
keep Henry Cavill there, and then okay, Lex Luthor. A couple of different options here. I was going between John Malkovich, Charlie Sheen, Gary Busey, because he's crazy.
Now, okay, hold on,
that-
Did you just say Charlie
He
Sheen?
I
did.
totally did. And you know why?
Wow.
This is why. Because
Go ahead, break it
if they
down.
want him to be a crazy Lex Luthor, sort of like this guy, nobody is crazier than hashtag winning Charlie Sheen. That is why. That is why. No, for no other reason than that. But I didn't leave him in there. In actuality, I actually went with the younger version of Joaquin Phoenix, like younger than when he did In the
Gladiator?
Fire or whatever that was. Yeah, maybe like Gladiator time.
Walk the line.
Yeah, somewhere, yeah, before Walk the Line. So yeah, a younger Joaquin Phoenix, but I think he can play like a dark, sinister character, and also add in, the cerebral craziness that you really want out of Lex Luthor. So there you go there. All right, and then as far as Batman, which is the only other, main star that I would rather change, or main character I would rather change. I don't know. I know I like Russell Crowe, but I know he's Superman's dad, so it may not work. I like this guy named Isai Morales. He
What?
way back in the day. Oh yeah, way back because I was looking for maybe like a little bit older, like so 40s to 50s. Batman.
Yeah.
So yeah, way back in the day, he was in La Bamba. He's been in a lot of TV shows. Criminal Minds
So are
from Dustin on
uh,
Black.
so are you gonna keep him Hispanic though? Is he gonna be all of a sudden Wayne Del Chifino, Bruce
No,
Wayne?
no, 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 no. Because I thought about him, but what I really want to do is put somebody in there that is actually going to be in a movie that we are anticipating right now, Doctor Strange. He was an American Gangster. He was in The Martian and even 12 Years a Slave. That's right. Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel?
Ooh,
He'll be Batman.
yeah,
He'll be Black Man Batman,
interesting.
right? So that's
Nice.
where I'm falling
Okay.
at. So I got
Wow.
You're
Chiwetel Ejiofor as Batman, Henry Cavill, still,
wow,
Wonder Woman, still Gal Gadot. We go with young Joaquin Phoenix, and then Quentin Tarantino directs that via.
wow.
Nice.
That's an inspired choice. I mean,
Isn't it?
I like him. I like him as an actor, and you're ready for that backlash. But I like that choice, brother.
All right.
Wow. That's
So what you
cool.
got, Jay? Who you
All
got,
right.
man?
Well, I mean, I'm keeping Henry Cavill as Superman, keeping Affleck as Batman, and I keeping them two only because they didn't have proper direction. They didn't have any good
Yeah, that's true.
direction. There was no good pacing in the
Yeah.
movie, so I'm keeping them, giving them a chance. Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot, however you say her name, I'm keeping her as Diana Prince.
Yeah.
But of course, when we get to the storyline, I'll tell you a little bit in detail. Now, we mentioned Bryan Cranston earlier about him playing Lex Luthor. I really would like to see him as a Lex character. And then I thought, what if it's this Lex Jr.? Let's just keep it in the whole Breaking Bad family and give that to Aaron Paul. You know,
Wow. Okay. Okay.
so
Yeah.
yeah. Now, as far as Zach directorial, of course, there is no Zack Snyder. He's gone.
Thank you, Jesus.
Now, there's three guys I narrowed that down to. George Miller. He did the
Yeah.
Mad Max movies, if you remember him.
And he was, yeah, he also was rumored to have a Justice League movie in the works for a
Yes,
while.
yes, heard
Never
about
came
that.
to.
Heard about that. Jun Ho Bong. This is a South Korean director. He did Snowpiercer. If you
Thought
guys seen
about
that,
him too.
No kid. Yes. Oh wow. Okay.
Snowpiercer.
Cool. Very nice.
But the one I think I'm leaning more towards is Gareth Evans, who did the Raid and the Raid sequel.
Ooh.
So you're getting those. You're getting
Oh.
those action shots.
Ooh. I don't know if you could direct English people, but damn, that would be an
Hey,
actually that's a good choice, my
Yeah.
friend.
yeah.
You know
So
what's so funny? Like sometimes we make comments on our show of like, we're cousins because of this and that. Like I have to tell you, you sort of know we're cousins because the three guys that he just talked about for director, I
Mm,
was considering all three of those in my short list,
really,
and I
wow.
didn't. I
nice.
just didn't because I love Tarantino. So yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
yeah,
do
man,
too. I
yeah,
thought about Tarantino too.
yeah,
you know.
yeah. So
But for
great,
my
great choice.
writer, I have a writer, and
Okay,
Oh,
this
nice.
may be stretching it a bit, and this is just curiosity speaking. I'd like to see how a comic book writer would handle a movie script. So I'm
Mm.
going to give that job to Scott Snyder. No relation to Zack Snyder. No relation.
Uh,
okay.
So
but the master of one of the best runs of Batman, so I like that choice.
yes. So yeah. So that
Yeah,
would be
makes
my. I
sense.
guess that would be my cast and writer director.
All right, gentlemen. All right. My Batman, I'm gonna skew towards a little bit younger. My idea is my Batman will be Matt Bomber from White Collar. He, I think,
Okay.
would be a good choice for Batman. He was actually up for Captain America before Christopher Evans got the part,
Really.
so he's ready. Red. I think he would play it well. He is the handsome, dashing young man. He's already played in White Collar. The he could play that business side of Bruce Wayne. Can he carry the superhero side of it? I don't know, but I think it could work. My Superman, I'm gonna go ahead and also Wonder Woman Gal Gadot. I thought she is a good choice for that.
Hmm.
Just terrible direction.
Yeah.
We'll see how she does in her single movie or solo movie. My Superman will be Joe Manganiello.
Oh,
I
okay,
think
cool.
he is 6'5". He is if you saw Magic Mike.
True Blood.
He's cut. Yeah, True Blood. He is cut. He has a superhero build. I think he could pull it off. He was ready in a superhero movie. He was in the first Spider-Man as Flash Thompson. He's also married to Sofia Vergara, so that's bonus points for me. So I think he would be a great Superman. I think he could play it very, very well. Now, my Lex Luthor, I'm going to have two villains in my movie. I'm going to tell you my Lex, and then I'm going to surprise you with my villain. Now, Lex in my movie is not going to be the main villain. He's just going to be introduced and kind of build up towards. I have two choices, and I couldn't break it down, so I'm going to give it to you both. I'll kind of let y'all decide. Christopher Maloney, who was in the first Man of Steel.
Okay.
He's the one that died. He's also on Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
I think he would be. When he was announced, I honestly thought he was Lex, but then he's just some nameless army guy, which was just terrible. I think he could pull off a good Lex. But my other choice is Mark Strong, who played Sinestro, who was on Kingsman. I think he would be a great Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
And for my second villain is actually, we'll get into it, but Brainiac will be my villain. It's the actual true villain of the movie, and I have Jason Isaac, Malfoy, Draco Malfoy's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also on Black Hawk Down, which actually, that's what spurred my... If you see him in Black Hawk Down, spurred my thought like he could play a good villain. And I think that would work for this movie. Yeah, I mean, I want to keep it young, and we'll go into why here, but Gal Gadot works. You know what? We really didn't touch on Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I like the design, so I honestly I would keep him as well. Mm-hmm. I would change the Flash. I'm not a fan. Cyborg, it's a newcomer, so I got to see how he does. The whole reveal of him being born of a mother box technology, we'll see how that goes. I mean, they talked about him having a solo movie, but now they scratched that solo movie, and now it's alleged to be a Teen Titan movie with him in it.
Okay.
So we'll see how that turns. Yeah, we'll see how that runs out. When of y'all, like I said, y'all are the visitors, so we'll go ahead. If you have your pitch, your actual plot pitch, let's throw it out there and let's see what works.
All right. Well, then I guess
Jake,
that's me.
Yeah.
All right. So like I said earlier, I'd like Scott Snyder to write some of this, or practically write it all, because he's already, like Nelson mentioned earlier, the New 52 Batman. He's wrote that. Mm-hmm. Superman Unchained. So he does have that experience with both characters. So my thinking would be to go that route of the Superman Unchained, because Batman and Wonder Woman did appear in that series. So and it's a big storyline, so I know I'm not going to go all into that. But I basically have it pretty much set up in two-part films. There would be no Doom, of course, and it would follow somewhat exactly how this one flowed along, this Batman versus Superman flowed on, but of course with better direction. So,
gotcha.
So similar to like how it started off with people not really trusting Superman, especially like Bruce Wayne trying to figure out what's going on, or vice versa. It would continue that way with Bruce and Superman eventually meeting up, and all the while Lex is being his manipulative, cunning self and still trying to pit Batman against Superman, as well as working with the group called Ascension, who was in that Superman Unchained series, and they're like a cyber terrorist group, and he would be providing like the intel and equipment for them to carry out their deeds or their attacks. But of course that didn't happen in that particular series. So this is just a complete off the wall thinking.
That's cool.
Yeah. So now, as far as that part two, that second side, there would be the character Wraith, which you guys familiar with or seen or heard of?
Wraith.
But he's basically like a superhuman that the government has actually had control over for some time, and he's actually just as strong as Superman, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So eventually they'd end up meeting up in the second movie. And then we could probably eventually, in the end credits, introduce the Justice League people.
Okay, I like that. So you wouldn't kill Superman just yet?
No, of course not. Not yet.
Yeah. I mean, because that makes sense.
Yeah, so that'd be it.
All right, that's interesting. I like that. Jared, you got any 2 cents on it?
Interesting. Yeah, just trying to think here about ways that this could possibly go. So let's just see if I can make it happen. So Basically, I would have, I would have the movie where basically Gotham City is, starting to get aggravated with Batman for, basically leaving a bunch of, criminals in his wake, tied up, handcuffed, whatever, just in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
just sort of leaving trash in the streets, if you will, and waiting for the cops to clean it up. I would, still have Gary Oldman as, wasn't he Commissioner Gordon, right? So
Yeah,
I'd
that's
still
correct.
have him as Commissioner Gordon just because I like him. So I'd have people getting mad at Batman because of that. I would also have people in Metropolis, also being sort of, I guess, sort of numb to all the stuff that Superman has been doing,
Mm-hmm.
because he sort of basically takes no prisoners when he
Mm-hmm.
is, trying to save people. So yeah, it is destroying the city. So probably similar to, somewhat of what sort of happened at the beginning of this Batman versus Superman. And I wouldn't necessarily have them against each other. I
Mm-hmm.
would have them come to a common ground, and of course, I would have them, basically run into each other, so to speak, while they're both fighting one crime. They both sort of run into each other over the river that
Mm-hmm.
separates Gotham and Metropolis, and Superman right under his, or Batman right under his eye, Gucci Mane style, has Martha tattooed on his cheek, and Superman's like, but Martha, what's up with Martha? It's like, oh, that's my mom's name. It's like, oh, that's my mom's name too. So they become friends, right? And
Nice,
then
nice.
all the while, Batman, has picked up some chick, at a party one night, unbeknownst to him, it's Wonder Woman. So instead of it being a walk of shame, she actually teams up with them, to take on my Joaquin Phoenix as Lex Luthor. And remember, by the way, my Batman is Chiwetel Ejiofor. So the face tat, the pulling hot chicks, it's gonna work for that dude. Just he looks the
Yeah.
part. So yeah,
Would the
what's that?
would the face tat also have lightning bolts coming off Martha?
There would be lightning bolts. Also,
Nice.
there would also be a snow cone instead of an ice cream cone. So
Bam,
Nice.
a
son.
little different there. But so yeah, so you would have, yeah, I mean, obviously Quentin Tarantino was my director, as I mentioned.
Mhm.
So, you would see Wonder Woman in, one of the first scenes of the movie. Actually, you would see Wonder Woman, basically kicking somebody's tail, and just throwing down, also fighting crime. That's when we would get her name. That would just sort of pop out. It would be like the old school where they had like a newspaper sort of scroll across the screen, and it would be something
Mhm.
to the effect of like, "Wow, what a wonderful woman! She's so amazing that she's blah blah blah." So yeah, so that's where she would get her Wonder Woman moniker, and it would just sort of stick
That
from there. So
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry to interrupt you. That is cool. I like that a lot. That
I
is
mean,
cool.
it's
The
got to come
whole
in
news
somewhere.
scroll with that. Yeah.
Like and
That.
that's one thing that I think this Batman versus Superman missed. It needed that old school thing because that's a callback to some of those old like old Batman, Batman and
Mhm.
Robin show. So yeah, Batman and Superman with Wonder Woman, and let's see here, the villains that they'd be fighting against. One would be, obviously the Joaquin Phoenix Lex Luthor
Mhm.
has found a way to team up with Bizarro Superman,
Nice.
just to try to make people in the city think that Superman's not doing stuff above board. That like
Mhm.
Superman was found like smoking crack, in an alley, and
That would
with
be funny.
a couple of hoes like pimping people, and they're like, "Dang, we
Mhm.
thought Superman was good." No, 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 it's Bizarro Superman, which Lex Luthor has
Nice.
somehow, conned into being, a part of his bad guy group, and
Hmm.
then
Mhm.
you would have Catwoman show up
Wow.
Mm.
as a villain, and this would be, but this would be, Catwoman as a villain for Batman, and also as the
Mhm.
female villain, quote unquote, for Wonder Woman to fight. But really,
Oh, okay.
it would be a combo of Catwoman, also with Poison Ivy.
Oh, okay.
Not the old school crazy Uma Thurman Poison Ivy. She probably worked really well with Quentin Tarantino in this situation. It would be someone else like I'm trying to think somebody who makes you I don't know somebody who like guys would be really into. So I would say like Gabrielle Union because I think she would be cool.
Ooh.
Even though she normally plays the good girl and stuff like that, I think she'd be able to play the good girl, bad girl. I'm going to seduce you.
Yeah, I mean, you could go Gabrielle Union. I'm gonna say Megan Good. I'll throw
That's
that
not
out there.
bad.
Oh,
That's not
that's
bad
not
either.
bad.
Yeah, we'll definitely take her. And then I don't care. Yeah, just a woman. And then Catwoman. Haven't really figured out who I want to play Catwoman, but it will be someone also very attractive, flexible.
All right, gentlemen. Well, what we're gonna do here is I am gonna go ahead and skip origin stories. I think we've seen him crash. We've seen them shot. They can't die any more than they've already
Thank you.
died. I'm. We're gonna jump into it where, like you said earlier, we're gonna show them saving people. Superman is still young. He's been Supermaning, let's say, for a couple of years. Batman's been Batmaning for a little bit longer, but they're still around the same age. We're gonna have Brainiac actually come down and as like a beacon of peace to Superman. We've been trying to find you. Blah blah blah. He's gonna come there and he's gonna come in there as a guise of a friend. He's going to actually help him create the Fortress of Solitude. So we'll have that play into it. We'll have Batman actually kind of, not really in the background, we'll introduce him, a little bit. But he's going to be investigating some weird things and how they kind of maybe tied to Lex Luthor. He doesn't know yet. So you're gonna see the kind of threads of Lex be laid out, some of his more devious plans. You're gonna see Lex as he should have been, where he's actually jealous of Superman, not because of anything else, just because he is more popular than him. I mean, that's kind of the cartoon was like he was jealous, and that's one of his driving forces. He's like, you won't listen to me for one. And all these people love you for two, and I know there's something wrong. You can't be this perfect, and that's the Lex that we're gonna kind of convey here. Brainiac goes, they create their Fortress of Solitude. Brainiac's all like, there's a lot of bad things out in the universe that's gonna come and could destroy it. You should have a network of heroes. There's these metas on this planet. I've been researching from a distance, so he helps them actually track down. You'll get your introduction to Aquaman. That's how you build that universe. But what he's actually doing is cataloging all the heroes of the world, and he's actually like, okay, if I take over, this is how I'm going to take these people out. But Superman doesn't know that. Doing that, and then he's going to pit them against some of each other sometimes. He's going to feed Superman false information. He's going to really get into Superman's head because Superman just is that natural good guy. He doesn't think that someone from Krypton will be as evil as he is. And then as, the movie starts to kind of unfold, you see Brainiac for who he is. He starts to infect the internet. He starts to kind of slowly take over, and he makes Metropolis his home. He starts to infect everything. It's from kind of like a storyline from a long time ago. I think Jeff Loeb had wrote that had the Brainiac War, I think it was. That's a big reveal, and because you need a villain. I'm tired of Zod. Zod's been done twice.
Yeah, I don't
now
want to see
Doomsday. I'm tired of that. Let Brainiac shine here. He's a good foil for Superman. As Brainiac starts to descend and start causing havoc, you start to see like Superman will reach out, Batman that comes into play, Lex will start making some moves, trying to steal the technology so he can increase his empire, and or he could build weapons, to sell and stuff like that. And then, they'll have their big fight. You'll have the team up. In the end, basically, they'll defeat Brainiac, but that's the creation of the Justice League. Brainiac, in his arrogance, actually helps create the Justice League like Loki helped create the Avengers in a way, but not played the same way. So that's basically it. I didn't have a director in mind, but as you were talking, I was thinking a good director possibly would be Gareth Edwards. I don't know if it's, I'm saying the guy who directed Godzilla and who's also directing Rogue One.
Okay.
I think would be a good. Or even the guy who directed Jurassic World. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but good possibilities to kind of help revive this and get it out of that Zack Snyder funk.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all.
So, gentlemen, I got to say, it has been a blast. I want to thank you both for taking the time out to sit here, just rip on a bad movie, talk about a little bit things here and there.
Yes, sir.
And it was an awesome experience for the first podcast. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out, guys. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to go ahead and plug your next podcast for the people out there and let them know how to find you, where to find you.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's see here. Well, let's see. Currently, we have 2 episodes running right now. By the time you guys hear this episode, Attack of the Pod, we might have dropped off our episode 10, The Flash Black on the Last Dragon, one of the greatest black karate movies of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
It,
Would you call that blaxploitation karate movie?
It's borderline.
It was
Yeah.
just past the black exploitation time
Era.
frame. I would say,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was still still pretty close.
In that
Yeah,
vein,
pretty
yeah.
much. It's like Enter the Dragon with black people in Harlem. And then you have
Exactly.
then right now we have episode 11 also up, Jay's Family Business, where he actually went back to Louisiana and interviewed his parents, my aunt and uncle, which was amazing.
Nice.
Listening to some of those stories, just great old school history from the side.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, when you hear this episode, we should at least have episode 12 up, which we sort of talk about, the heinous crimes against unarmed black people and police, and Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, and just everything
Insanity in
that is
society.
just insane in society.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's coming up, going to drop pretty soon. That's episode 12. And then also, we have some stuff cooking for episode 13, so it might drop, but we're not going to quite release that on you yet. So, like Jay said earlier, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at #BlackoutPod. We are on SoundCloud. We are on iTunes, on YouTube, on Stitcher, on Google Play. You can just find us at the #BlackoutPodcast, and that's the word hashtag written out. We also have a Wix.com homepage that we're working on right now. #blackoutpod.wix.com. And then,
Find
yeah,
all
man.
our episodes on our blog.
There you go. Find all the episodes.
#blackoutpodcast.blogspot.com.
There you go.
And then our Snapchat,
Yep.
#bot.
Yeah, hashtag, please, Snapchat, and trying to grow
Nice.
that. It's fun. But yeah, man, we like to drop some silly, some fun, some crazy content. Not only about geekery, also about random pop culture, food, whatever. We like to drop it. So definitely follow our Instagram because we like to keep it popping. And we will, we love to. We already added you to the #Blackout crew on our
Nice.
on our
I
site.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So if anybody out there wants to be a part of the #Blackout crew, hit us up. Let us know. We would love to have you. And yeah, definitely, we will. We appreciate you having us on the show. We'd be happy to come back
Definitely.
again in the future,
Yeah, of course.
especially after Suicide Squad drops and Doctor Strange, all the stuff we talked about. We'd love to
Yeah,
chat
we got
about that. So.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we'll do this again, fellas. It was great. I want to let everybody know out there you can find me at Attack the Pod on Instagram and Twitter, both same handles there. We have a Facebook page. We'll be creating a web page soon. And then our next pod, just to let y'all know, will be a ode to the Josh Trank remake of Fantastic Four.
Wow.
Rotten Tomato rated I think 9% or 19%. I'm not 100% on that, but it was worse than this movie. It is worse than this movie. I mean, just let that sink and marinate into your bones. And I wasn't even that angry about Michael B. Jordan being cast as Human Torch. I was okay with it.
Me too.
That was not the problem with this movie, and we'll go into detail on that on the next pod. So I want to say, everybody, thank you for taking the time to listen today and not catch some Pokemon. And y'all have a great evening. Gotta catch them all, my friends. So good night. Be safe. We'll see you next time.
Peace.